Hello, everybody. My name is Lewis Lee, and this is Playing in Traffic. And I'm coming to you with a heavy heart tonight. We lost a really good guy, good friend, um, Chassis John. He's gone on to see the Lord, and man, we like to pray for his family because it, I don't know.
There's
I mean,
no
I
words,
can't.
Lewis. There's no words. He was one of the herd, and our circle has gotten smaller. It'll get tighter,
Right.
and we'll all move forward. We'll learn that this stuff comes quick. It happens quick.
Yeah.
John thought he was diagnosed with back issues, and he thought that's what the problem was, and then it accelerated from there. And it just goes to show you, I learned something. Even medicine. And I know from my own bouts with the medical community and from what John was telling me, they miss stuff. They don't see stuff. They're looking here, they're not looking there, and then they move you on to somewhere else. So, but at the bottom line, it wasn't really a curable thing, and it was when you have a sentence like that, it's going to get you. So
Yeah.
he was ready. I told him he's the bravest guy I know because he faced it, and I said, you're gonna go up. At the end, you're gonna spit in his face and say,
Right.
"Screw you." And he says,
Right.
"Yeah, I will." So, luckily, he said he just wanted to go fast after he went to hospice, and he did. So,
Yeah.
he got his wish, and we can be happy for that.
I tell you what. I had a family member hospice, and it's a great organization. If you could donate money to them or go donate time or whatever, they really help a lot of families get through the hard times.
I'll tell you, we had when my mom was at the end of her life, we had her here at my house under hospice care, and they would come once a week and check the meds, make sure the meds are right, and do a wellness and a family check. And she was able to pass here with family, so it was good. I mean, it's never good, it's bad, but it's the best of a bad situation. And they were
Right.
really, like you said, phenomenal people. They were just caring, and so it's different than nurses are great. We all know nurses and doctors, and they're good in their own right, but they see people over and over. It's fast in and out. The hospice people are dealing with end of life care, and you got to be a special person to do that because everybody you see isn't getting better, So
Yeah.
that was they are special people, and you're right. If you can, do something positive for a hospice worker, or if you want to donate to something, that's a good, very good cause.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. Let's pull the fellas in.
Yeah. Where's Brian? There's my boy.
Hey guys, how y'all doing?
All right, man.
All right. Man, what do you even say? I mean, you know what I mean?
It's crazy. Like I said, I'm just glad, like I said, it went fast and quick like you want it. It was actually when I told my wife, she goes, "Didn't you just tell me this?" And I said, "Yeah, it was Monday. Monday when he wrote on his Facebook about it." And I'm just, I'm not a birthday guy, like I was telling Ray earlier. I'm not a birthday guy, but he had a birthday coming up, and I was kind of hoping he at least make it. I don't know why. I said, I normally don't celebrate or go through all that stuff, but
you know why, Brian? We're goal oriented.
I guess
I thought the same thing. I said, man, I hope he makes his birthday. And I said, why? That'd be probably the worst birthday of his life. It'll be his last one. So at least his last one was a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, or at least it gives you something to look forward to, I guess. I don't know. Like I said, it's crazy for that, but
we're goal oriented. That's why.
But
we look for things like that. But I don't think he'd want us to drag it down.
Right.
I think
I was going to say that
to keep it up.
So we'll stop by, get some Edelman's donuts, and
Well, I'll tell you this. I did some digging because I started thinking, and I've asked most of you guys, like I'm trying to remember when the last show that John was on with us was, and we all agreed it was probably 2-3 months ago. From what I can see, I was going through the YouTube stuff. It was May 5th. So if you want to go back and watch that show, I think that was the last one. And then I told Brian what I started doing. I know, I mean, this show is great. The guests are great. Louis, you put on a great deal for us. We appreciate it. But we know that at the end of the show, I'm talking like the 3 hour mark.
After party.
11:30, 12 o'clock, Pat.
There's a lot of stuff that goes on because we're getting punchy and we're just getting hungry. So I started
the last 30 seconds.
I started opening those shows back into April and just going back to like the last 5 minutes. And I tell you, if you don't laugh your ass off,
well, in the next week or so, I'm going to put together a montage of John, because he told us some good stuff. You know what I mean? When he talked, he talked. So I'm going to put together some stuff and we'll be able to play it on here. Or maybe I'll just put it out there and we can just go watch it. I'll figure out something.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
Yeah. Hey, Ray.
Yes, Scott.
Did you get the 95-degree temp like we had here today?
It was so hot I stayed in the house most of the day. I went out with my wife. We went to lunch at Nathan's, but I was in the FJ with the AC up. So yeah, it was very hot, and it's going to be hot tomorrow.
We hit a record today.
In fact,
we were 97.
I have a job they want me to do tomorrow. They want me to work on this 64 Caddy again, but I know it's in the owner's. It's in a driveway without shade, and I'm going to say, you know what? No, I'm not going to do it. Let's wait
till 82 still over here.
Yeah,
holy crap!
I'll wait. I'll wait on that for another day. Yeah, it's crazy.
It didn't get hot here. We got a lot of rain.
Oh, we didn't get any.
Yeah, we got your rain coming in another couple.
Yeah. Right now it is just buckets of rain and lightning and thundering right now.
Good.
It's pretty insane. I normally don't have too much problems with power or internet, but it's done some dancing around here in the last couple minutes. We'll see what happens.
All right, that's cool. I know we're scheduled to get it, like I think over the weekend and into early next week.
Well, I drove about an hour away to the auction I went to today, and on my way there, I'm listening to the radio, and they said, "Oh yeah, this county has a storm watch or whatever, the tornado watch,
a thunderstorm or something."
Yeah, so I'm like, "Oh man, I'm driving right into it," and then they said, "We got a large hail." Then the hail starts hitting my truck. I'm like,
oh man.
I was like, dude, I should pull over. So I could barely see. So I stopped at the gas station and got a sandwich.
All the way down through Philly and Baltimore, I'm looking, is total. And then over to the left, we are, Brian. Yeah, it's
coming down like crazy.
It's gotcha.
So,
hey, you know what? The lawn needs it.
Yeah.
My lawn is brown. I could use it.
Yeah,
mine's green and thick, and I haven't had time to cut it. It's been crazy.
I'm gonna come down and take yours.
So
yeah, you can have it.
So it's basically like your beard after about a 3-week growth.
Yeah.
My little garden. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Oh, I see some mosquitoes.
What are you growing over there?
I got corn. I got cucumbers. What else?
How many stalks of corn did you put?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 6.
You need at least 6.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Yeah. Because of the way that it cross pollinates.
Oh really?
Yeah. So if you do corn and if you don't, you need at least 6 to start.
Farmer Brian.
Huh?
Yeah.
Farmer Brian to the rest.
Hey, you better start reading, because when the shit hits the fan, this is my John segment right here. When the shit hits the fan, there ain't going to be nobody taking care of you. So you better learn how to fucking grow some food, or you're going hungry.
Yep. I sure do.
And learn how to make a mean motherfucking sandwich, because other than that, you ain't going to have no friends.
Nope.
There you go. There you go. Good one.
That was
Really
my
good.
2 cents, but don't listen to me. I just drive around in a tool truck all day.
That's good. That's good. No,
Hey.
we planted zucchini this year and some peppers and these what are they called? They're called some kind of, it's like a cucumber pickle. Well, anyway, stuff is growing like crazy. Zucchini was like, like one day you look at it in the afternoon and the thing will be 6 inches long. The
Yeah.
next morning it's a foot long.
Isn't that crazy?
I want to do a time lapse photography of this thing to watch it grow. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy how God put it together, man. He knew what he was doing.
I tell you, you're right. You are right, man. It's a wonder of nature.
Yeah.
It really is.
So I've been online looking around for lights and stuff. I'm gonna put a garden in the basement. I'm gonna grow some stuff in the basement over
I
the
have a
winter.
friend who does that. Yeah.
Wink, wink, right?
No,
Is
I have
that
a friend who
wink,
does that
wink?
quite successfully. Yeah, it's in his garage though. He uses a couple buckets and
Yeah.
I got
I
a
had
light. I got a good light.
I had a neighbor around the corner, and he had those fluorescent light, those
Hydroponic lights.
the grow lights or whatever, and he had the shades pulled down, but you could see the outline. And
Yeah.
he was out there one day, and it was back when the bus stop was out by his house, and I was like, oh, that's aquariums in there, right? And he goes, oh yeah, aquariums. I'm like, yeah, okay, buddy, get a little
Listen.
tighter shades down there, bud.
One of my friends, he rented a house, and the whole house was full of grow lights.
Yeah.
And it turned the electric meter was going off the rack,
Yeah.
and the helicopter flew over the house, and it lit up like they use a infrared light. That's how they catch those guys.
Wow.
And they caught him, man. They said the house looked like a Christmas tree. It
Yeah.
was lit up. Yep, from the helicopter.
Yeah, they would look for either electric use or water usage.
Yeah, he did
Yeah,
about 10 years on that one.
Wow, did it?
They if they know the right guy, they jump the meter.
Right.
And they don't have, because they had a few houses around here where they go in and they were trashed because they just put these growing beds and water. I mean, they literally ran sprinklers inside the house to water and everything.
Wow.
And when they finally get caught, or they would rent a house, and then of course they're like, these were my best customers. They paid every month ahead of time and blah blah blah. And then of course when something happened, they go in there and these places were just trashed. And it's crazy. We had a chop shop at my parents' neighborhood.
Nice.
Yeah, it was the weirdest thing because you never saw anybody, and during the wintertime, you would just see tire tracks that would go up to the garage, and you never see anybody. You'd never see like anybody walk down to the mailbox. Nothing. And one day, the police raided the place, and they were pulling. They had knocked the wall down, and on the first floor of the house was just all a chop shop.
Wow.
And they were pulling cars in there and stripping them. Of course, during the day, everybody's work, so there's nobody around, and it's a quiet neighborhood. And they had built shadow boxes around the window with curtains, so that it looked like it was a house inside.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they went the extra mile.
Yeah, oh yeah. That went on. I don't know how long that went on.
Yeah.
I got a buddy that had chop shop too. I got a buddy that had everything.
I mean, the chop shop though is kind of noisy. I mean, a grow house is quiet, but a chop shop is noisy. And then you got to get rid of the carcasses and then the parts. So there's got to be coming and going.
Yeah.
Hey, perfect thing. Just get yourself an old tool truck and I got a tool route every day I go out. Just filled with parts. Who would know?
When I moved out to the country, I moved my repo lot out there too, and I put the repo lot in the front of my property. I had 4 acres, so the first acre was all repo lot. So the neighbors, I just moved in, so I had trucks come in, picking up the cars, taking them to the auction. Then my tow trucks were bringing cars in. So all my neighbors, I found out this maybe 5 or 6 years after I lived there. I became pretty good friends with the neighbor. And one day he was like, man, when you first moved in, we thought you were a chop shop. He said all these all these fancy cars coming in and out all times of the night. I was like, because I'm black, right? He was like, yeah, you're the only black guy in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
I had a
Probably the
nosy
only car
neighbor.
guy in the neighborhood.
What'd you say?
Probably the only car guy in the neighborhood.
When I moved into here and I was doing work out of the garage, I could fit 4 cars in this garage, you know. And I had a nosy neighbor that walked up and looked in, and she goes, "You got some expensive cars in there." And I told her she needed to keep her nose on her side of the fence.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
If you've got cars, they are expensive.
Yeah.
Any of
Hey,
them.
Justin.
Yeah, just
Hey guys.
Justin, what's shaking, Bacon?
Oh, another day of fun at the shop.
What'd you get into today? Anything good?
A Volkswagen.
Whoa,
Ooh, German junk. Come on now. Are you cramming a Hemi in that thing? What happened?
Not yet.
Not yet.
It's been talked about. No, it's a dune buggy plate toy. We had to put a fiberglass front end on.
Oh.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind having one of those.
Oh, this thing
What
looks awesome.
motor does it have? Does it have like a newer style, or is it just like a Beetle motor or whatever?
Yeah, it's an old Beetle motor.
Oh.
He's talking about LS swapping it at some point.
Wow, Jesus Christ!
When I grew up
Oh, yeah,
in
love that.
Florida, they had the Baja Bugs, and they were everywhere. Oh man, I've always wanted one of them.
This thing's got. This has got to have 37-inch tires, something like that. It's pretty
geez.
cool.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah,
they're fun.
wow.
When I grow up, I'm gonna get one.
Yeah.
You tow it behind the bus.
Anything the bus?
Hmm?
Anything going on with the bus?
Yeah, I've been doing some fabricating. I fabricated a new front door, half a door, because I took the big door out, and I've made a half a door so the wife can jump out if we catch on fire or something. And my next, hear that lightning?
You heard that?
So my next move is I'm doing body work and building the storage boxes. So I'm doing some fabricating on some storage boxes, and that's my next move next couple weeks.
Nice.
What color is that going to be when it's done?
Sun-Kiss Orange. If you go to Summit Racing and look at the Sun-Kiss Orange, that's what I got.
Mm.
It's pretty
I'm heading
nice.
there
It got
now.
pearl in it. It's real sweet, man.
So
Yeah.
I'm like Ray. Have it right here.
How much paint does it take to cover a bus?
lot.
3 gallons of paint, 3 gallons of primer, and a whole bunch of what do you call it? I'll be right back.
Yeah.
I said that paint's not cheap.
No, it's not.
Money's no object. Oh man.
Well, all right then.
All right. Well, we got a new player in the house here, boys.
Yeah. New fish at the table.
Let's let me get that special deck of cards there.
Yeah.
We'll get the new player up.
Right.
So Ray, you've been working on any projects?
Not of my own. I have to fix my Fiat. I still got to weld in the some kind of a support system where the shock blew through, but it's too hot out there to do it. So I actually drove it. I drove it yesterday with 3 shocks, and it was fine. The rest of them are so stiff and firm that it didn't even matter. So I got to get around to that. Now I've been doing stuff at the shop. We got rid of the Mustang finally. That went out. The proportioning valve isn't right, so I heard he stopped at the other shop the next day, and I said, was he pissed off or was he smiling? And they said, no, the guy was happy as a pig and shit. He loves his car. I'm like, good. That means he doesn't know any better. So eventually when we get it back to work, I'm going to see if I can fit. This is at the pressure valve, the brake valve that was in the proportioning valve, right? It's got 2 terminals on top, and this is the pintle that moves. But the whole thing is plastic. It's fully plastic. It's like
Not much to it.
garbage. And this, it was threaded and it was leaking. You pump the brakes and fluid would squirt, come out of it.
Too many mosquitoes out there, Lewis?
He doesn't. He's not plugged in.
Yeah.
Hey, Ray, that thing, does that have a brake sensor? brake warning light down in the bottom on the dash?
I didn't notice it. This combo valve isn't an OEM part. They put this in when they did the brake conversion. When they did
Yeah,
the
I
power
know.
brake conversion. So
I just didn't know because it was an option on that car. They had a brake warning, and I just didn't know if it had. It should have like a little. I think it's square, but it's like they punched a hole in the lower part of the metal dash. It's kind of hard to see, but they punched a hole there.
what is weird is on the passenger side, towards the console under the dash, it's like a 4-way flasher switch. And it doesn't look like an OEM switch. It looks like
in the glove box.
No, it's under the dash.
It's okay, and it's a big toggle switch both ways.
Yeah, I didn't play with it, so it was some kind of switch.
That's OE. It should be. It should be in the glove box.
I thought it was kind of weird they put it on the passenger side, not the driver's side. But...
No, it's stupid because, like I said, mine's mounted inside the glove box. You open the glove box door and it has this big ass switch with a big toggle switch, and it says emergency flasher.
Okay.
Kind of hokey. But. Safety first, boys.
Gotta have the safety.
Can you hear us?
You guys hear me?
I can hear you.
We got you.
With too many mosquitoes out there?
No, he was scared of the lightning.
I can't hear you. My headphones.
Had to come in out of the weather.
Wow.
Jim, you're muted? Unless you don't want to talk.
I know what you're
doing. I had to put a shifter in the shop car the other day. And I'm looking, I'm like, all right, the doors don't open on this thing. It's got a roof, obviously. And it's got that aluminum race bucket seat on the driver's side. At least the steering wheel comes off. And the passenger side has big cross-braced roll bars. I'm like, how am I supposed to get in there and work?
Can't.
And the one guy that was in the shop says, Ray, he goes, that's a job for a younger man. I'm like, you got that right. I said, but I think I can do most of the job from underneath. It's just an automatic shifter. I said I could, but we couldn't find the shifter anywhere, so I didn't do anything except sweat. So
that happens.
It's cool. I mean, he bought this car. It was actually Dick Trickle's car, and when they sold it, they had to take the engine and tranny out, the NASCAR engine. But they did put a small block in it with an automatic, and it's a healthy sounding engine. But just to see up front the suspension and the and the braking and everything safety wired, it is really amazing. And that's even old technology.
There's some cool stuff for sure. I'm a big fan of a couple different pages on social media that are doing like the street legal stock cars, where they're taking old chassis from NASCAR, ARCA, Truck Series, that sort of thing, and putting bodies on them.
Okay.
There is some wicked cool stuff out there.
The cool thing is, like, this thing has two rear control arms, long control arms. Remind me of a
the trailing arms.
But remind me of the torque arm. The torque arm they put in the Fords that went from the rear end all the way to the middle of the car. But these are control arms, and then there's a padded bar across the back, and the padded bar goes from the chassis on one end to the rear end on the other, and it's got an oblong hole so they can adjust it, I guess for track conditions. But those long control arms, it looks like an I-beam, a little I-beam. What it is, it's two pieces of metal sandwiched together like to form an I-beam. And where it comes to the back, it had to change direction and go up, and it does. It bends, and you look at it and you say, this was bent like in a 100-ton press, because there's no bend mark, but obviously the metal is bent. It's like, that's impressive. I'd love to see that press. Cool stuff. Just
do you know what kind of car it was, Ray?
Alumina, maybe. It's a Chevy. It looks like a Chevy.
Do you know if was it a cup car?
Yes.
Oh wow, okay.
I'm not, and because a couple of the guys that were there for the Cars and Coffee were talking about it, and they know ultimately a hell of a lot more about that stuff than I do. And they were talking about the series and whatnot, and and what would be in this car, what would be in a car of another series. But they did mention that it was a Cup car. I'm not sure what series though.
Well, no, the NASCAR Cup Series. That's the top of the line.
But it says Dick Trickle's name on the door. It's got all
That's
the
pretty cool.
Yeah, but he did a lot of ASA, and
Yeah,
he did a lot of. I mean, he was in everything. I mean,
He was the king of the late models.
yeah, late model stuff and Bush series, or not, Grand National, or I don't know what they call it now. Infinity. Is it Infinity? Xfinity. Yeah, I still call it the old stuff, and unless you're old and understand what I'm talking about, you're like, what the hell are you talking about?
Well, I understand you.
Yeah.
I've been following
Right.
all of it. So.
Not even sure.
That happens with a lot of stuff you say, Brian. So we just take that with a grain.
Justin,
That's why I'm just glad you guys let me hang out with you and just let the old fat guy talk for a while. It's okay. I mean, she'll shut up. He babbles a little bit, and he's all right.
He's got to be nice to you. He wants that tool discount.
Yeah.
Justin,
Hey,
he was
Brian, I used your hammers this week.
Yeah.
I'm doing a little body work. I made it worse, but I used them.
You That's good. Well, hey,
Learn from your mistakes.
you actually definitely learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, don't hit it with a hammer. That's the.
Hey, you can always hit the other way.
Right.
No, it did what I needed to do. I'm learning. You know what I mean? Those are nice hammers. I appreciate you.
No problem. You've started something, Lewis, and I don't want to get too much in it until I get a little further, but I started cleaning out 30 years of dust sitting on parts and gathering stuff up.
Okay.
And moving stuff, and I got the I can't do it on the computer. I'll take pictures, but I got the rear set up, sitting on jack stands, and I don't know. I might have to put the plane in traffic.
That's it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Very cool.
So
Put the that's a Monte Carlo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see if I can.
But I got what was on the side on the stickers because it'll tell you right up on top what it was. What series?
How come that didn't share?
But when I hang the plane in traffic bat single, you guys are in trouble.
Oh, look at
It's
that.
all coming together.
I don't have a better picture of the side. This one I was working on it over at the AutoZeum.
But see, I think it had. I mean, if right, the second sticker from the A pillar is going to tell you the series right there.
Yeah,
that should tell the series.
Well,
if you blow that up.
Hey, this is my old cop car over here, right here. That was a cop car I bought. I was going to put the Nomad body on.
Nice.
Yeah. I can find it. Like I said, it's at the shop, so I'll be working on it. I'll get another picture.
Hey, Brian. Yeah, as soon as you throw the bat symbol up, we're on our way.
Yeah, because I don't know, especially after the last couple of days and a few things that happened. I'm like, I got to get that thing done, dude. I got to get that thing so I could just at least sit in it and make the car noises. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. I was doing the same thing. I was like, we sit on stuff and say, oh, we're gonna do it.
Oh, please.
Sometimes we don't make it. So I feel you, man.
I'll tell you, Brian. I had to get my car inspected at the end of July. So Saturday I took it out. It was the first time this year I took the damn thing out, and I just drove it around. I just drove it all over the place on Saturday and Sunday again. And I said, I'll just keep putting gas in. Who cares? It's what I needed. Like after talking to John on Saturday, that was kind of a tough day.
Well, I can say, Ray, is that you got a little bit darker on top, and you seem to have a different swagger. So maybe you need to drive it more often.
I'm telling you, it does. It'll do that to you.
The facts will be when we call and talk to the wife and see how you're performing.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. But it really does make a difference. And I know it sounds stupid, but only car guys would understand it.
Yeah.
It just really it makes that much of a difference in your day, and you just feel that much better.
Yeah.
Very true.
It's a good thing.
That's what I feel on my bike too. I'm out riding. It's like, whoa, it's a whole freedom.
Exactly.
I've been doing a ton of shows and cars and coffees and cruise nights with my truck. I've done more mileage this year than I've done in probably the past 4 years combined.
That's great. That's
Yeah, it's
great.
awesome.
Oh yeah.
And at 545, 550 a gallon, it's super. I don't even care.
Right.
It's just
I
whatever.
got a
About to-
scare. I got a scare in me because when I came home Saturday, I said, you know what, I got to do an oil change. So I bought a case of oil. My buddy at the motorcycle shop was going to get me a case of AMS oil a few years ago. And for some reason, it didn't come through. So he said, look, I got you Spectro. I use Golden Spectro in the bikes. It's a great motorcycle oil. So they make a car line also. So I took the case. I did one oil change with it, and I put 4,000 miles on it. So now I'm doing another oil change, and I happen to be just looking at the bottle in the garage, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, okay, Golden Spectro Platinum. I'm like, how come it doesn't say, high ZDDP on the label? I'm like, that's not good. I got a flat tapping cam in this car.
Yeah.
So I knew the car survived the last 4,000 miles, and the cam didn't wipe out. So I looked on the website, and I see they had the description said it had an enhanced level of zinc and polyfluora. I need John Day. It's some polyfluorine name, 12-letter name, and they didn't give it a number. Their other car oil says on the label 2x ZDDP, 1,800 parts per million. I'm like, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So I contact my buddy that owns a bike shop. I said, listen, can you get me in touch with somebody from Spectro? I want to find out about this. And he says, yeah, here's the guy's number. Tell him I told you to call. He goes, he probably won't get back to you for a day or two. This is the power of having the right phone number or the right name. He goes,
Right.
I just talked to him. He's kind of busy. He may not get back to you for like a couple days, but I said, okay, no worry. I call the guy up. I leave a message. I tell him, Gerard told me to call you. 10 minutes later, my phone rings. It's the guy. I'm like, whoa. I said, not for nothing. Gerard said he probably wouldn't get back to me in a few days. He says, well, I'll tell you what. He goes, not only did you have my cell number, he goes, you had the right name. He goes, when you mentioned that name, he goes, you get like, better service, this red carpet. I'm like, wow, nice.
Moved right to the front of the line.
Oh, yeah. So he explained to me that the oil I'm using is actually, he thinks it's better than the other one with 1,800 parts per million. This one has 1,400, but it was designed for, it's in their muscle car line. He says the other oil is really designed for like in the race car line. He says, this I think is going to be better for you in a street car. And I said, wow, okay. So I went from being really worried. I said, I was going to pour a bottle of zinc in. He goes, no, don't do that. Don't screw with the chemistry.
Yeah.
He says, the chemistry in our oil is, what we want it to be, and you're going to be just fine. So I had a scare, but luckily it was averted.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's not on the label.
I was too. I had the bottle here. It just says, full synthetic platinum. I'm was very surprised.
It's funny. I went to Walmart to pick up oil. I'm going down to this car show down in Jersey, 2-3 weeks. I keep thinking of Surf City when I'm trying to think of the name of it. It's
I have a Surf City drum set I want to sell.
no, it's not Surf City. It's hold on.
Ocean City?
Huh?
Ocean City?
No, Dead Man's Curve.
You said
Dead
New
Man's
Jersey?
Curve.
Oh, Dead Man's Curve, yeah.
Yeah. So it's coming up Labor Day
It's in
weekend.
Mawa.
Yeah. How far are you from there?
Not too far. Well, if you can get over the bridge, if you don't count the George Washington Bridge, I'm maybe 45 minutes. Count the bridge, I may be like 3 hours and 45 minutes.
Well, maybe I'll see you down there.
I doubt
So
it.
anyway, I went to Walmart to pick up some oil, and it's like I'm not a synthetic fan. I want regular. They don't sell any regular. So I
Right.
bought high mileage synthetic and whatever.
Buy you could buy Supertech, the Walmart brand.
You like it?
I'll tell you what. I never would have bought a store brand oil until I had a guy on my show who works at an oil testing lab in New Jersey. This is now years ago. And we quizzed him about, I told him, like, listen, the number one question we get is, how often should I change my oil? What oil should I use? What filter should I use? And you give them I said, it comes down to, I would use a name brand oil. It comes down to brand preference. We all buy what we like. I mean, everybody to this day still, the internet is full of stories about how bad Fram filters are. I've been using them for years, never had a failure. So I said, again, it comes down to what you trust and like. But so this guy said kind of the same thing. He says, all I do all day is test people's oil. And they do that comprehensive, like 30 or 40 part test. And at the end of the show, I asked him, I dropped the bomb on him. I said, okay, listen, what oil do you put in your car? And what filter do you use? And he went silent. He goes, oh. He goes, I was wondering if you were going to ask me that. I was like, yeah, you're not getting out of here alive, buddy. And he said, I'll tell you what. He says, you're not going to believe this. He says, you ever hear of SuperTech oil? I'm like, yeah, it's Walmart's brand. He goes, yeah, I use that. And I said, okay, why? He says, and then he gave the answer that I give people. I have a friend, the guy I replaced on my show was a shop teacher, automotive shop teacher, and big car guy. And he bought a Harley, a Road King, brand new, I think in '99 or whatever it was. And he'll always call and say, yeah, I went to Harley and bought the oil and the filter for my bike. And I'm like, wait, you don't mean to tell me you think that Harley makes the oil and the filter, do you? Because they're just putting their name on it.
Right.
They don't have a refinery. Same as any some of the designer brands. So he says, no, but I just feel better using their oil and filter. And I said, well, that's the reason people do that, because it's that comfortable. So the guy says he used the SuperTech in the car that he had that was kind of a little bit of an older car, and he started bringing the oil in and testing, and it worked because that's what he does for a job. So he could do it every day if he wants. And he said, I found no difference in the chemical breakdown of the oil. Nothing was out of line with any other oil I tested. He said, so Walmart doesn't make the oil.
Right.
So he says, I don't know who makes it. I could give you a good guess based on what I see with color and lubricity and different things. He says, but all I'm going to say is I use it and it's fine. And I use that filter too. And I said, wow. So I did. I used it, but I used it like in the third car in the family. I was like, I wasn't using it in the good cars at first. And in a pinch, I will buy it, and I've used it. And, and the main thing is, like I've always told people, change the oil and filter on a regular scale. Don't go 10,000 miles. I worked my way up to 3,000 and 4,000. I even went 5 a couple times. Never more than that. And I have a testing device that another guy on the show, they had sent it to me. And every oil I ever took out of any of the cars I did, even when it was an overdue change, tested okay. It's a light sensor. You put a couple drops of oil in to cover the sensor, you press the button and there's LEDs, and it measures the light transmission. So the dirtier the oil, the less the light transmission.
Sure.
I took a sample out of my waste oil jug, and in there goes gas, transmission, everything goes in there. And I sampled that, and that sampled good. I'm like, this gauge is a piece of shit. This thing doesn't work. It can't be. It can't work if I'm testing waste oil. I said, wait a minute, I got one more thing I can do. And I went to my lawnmower, air-cooled 4-stroke lawnmower, took oil out of that, and I changed it every year. I changed it at the beginning of the season. I tested that, bad. I was like, okay, it worked, because I tested brand new oil, and of course it tested the best it could be. So I'm like, okay, this damn thing does work. So I started believing that we do change our oil too much. But now I've been watching on that website just rolled in. There's a lot of cars that shops are showing the guys did 10,000 mile oil changes or more. The filters are clogged up and the oil is just blopping out. So there is a limit. There is definitely a limit. Sure. But it ain't 5,000 miles, I'll tell you that.
So, Ray, I was watching, I don't know if it was on YouTube, but this guy, they tested the 3 Fram filters, K&N, and the SuperTech one. The SuperTech one had higher quality didn't have this paper thing inside.
They talk about the paper ring.
It was actually better, the best out of all of them. I can't believe it.
All right, so let me ask you, Scott, what was your brand of oil and filter choice over the years?
I've always used Castrol, and I've always used the Fram with the black grippy
Yeah.
thing.
I used to be a GTX guy for years. That was all I used. And Fram, I've been using Fram forever.
No, I bought an AC Delco filter because it was like almost the same price as the Fram. I'm like
AC Delco I would use. Yeah.
And every Fram, by the way, is the same internally, even though you think you're paying more for this or that. And it's supposed to be different filter. They were all the same.
Right. Well, I'll tell you this. I don't know about you. I've never had an oil filter fail. Again,
I only had one problem. It's
What
when
was
we
that?
had our Chevelle with my ex, and I took the filter off and didn't realize the rubber stayed on the block.
Right.
And I put the new one up,
Right.
and I'm trying to start the car, and I actually was having carburetor problems. So I'm cranking. I lost 3 quarts on the floor.
Wow.
Thank God the car never started.
Right. Well, that was, you could say, all right, that could be a filter issue, but it was also more of a oil lube tech issue, you know. So it was dual culpability there, but I'll give you that. What do the rest of you guys use? What are your favorites?
I've used quite a few. We use the Joe Gibbs stuff at our shop. We've got a deal with those guys, and we use a lot of their products, detail sprays. I mean, you name it. And it seems to be good stuff. I mean, we carry AMSOIL as well.
That's supposed to be a good brand.
Yeah, AMSOIL.
I mean, I've used a bunch of different.
I'm a Mobile One guy.
On the window. Hang on. He's knocking on the window. He wants to come in. He's like, hey, let me in.
Listen, my computer died, so I jumped on my phone. But then I'm not the host on my phone.
Sorry,
You've been knocking, but you can't come in.
Trying to get in.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
I'm a Mobile One guy. I've always used. I mean, I've used Mobile One forever. But in the diesels, I've always run the Rotunda shell.
Yeah.
And actually, it wasn't until after I heard your radio or your thing on the Walmart oil, the last couple of times in the F350 with the diesel, which I used to run the Shell stuff. I used the Walmart stuff, and to be honest, I really didn't notice any difference when I changed it or got it out. The only thing for me, it was just the price tag.
Sure.
It was cheaper.
What about you, Jim? What's your choice?
Whatever my mechanic wants to put in.
Okay, all right. Louis, you got no oil
There you go.
choice? You have a favorite?
I kind of got lazy and started going to the quick lube places. So Valvoline or wherever I go, really.
I'll tell you this. There's a guy I watch on YouTube. He's a Toyota dealer mechanic. And the guy knows his stuff. He was doing videos for a couple of years out of his home garage. Now he opened a shop. And he still works at the dealership. And I mean, he's an A-level master tech, this guy. And he just did another video on why the 4-cylinder Toyota engines fail. And it's the rings get stuck. And he showed a car. It was a doctor's car. I always forget. And I'm just going through, so I'm just trying to tell my wife, Infinity is Toyota's higher level car, right?
Yeah. No, Lexus.
No. Lexus.
Lexus is Toyota. Infinity is Honda.
No, Nissan.
Nissan.
I'm looking at
Acura is
Infinity. Anyway.
Honda is
that was-
Acura.
What's that?
Acura is Honda.
Okay. The guy's a doctor, drives like 80 miles a day. It's a 2015 No, it was like I said, it was a Lexus.
Uh-huh.
It's been serviced regularly at the dealer. They recommended 10,000 mile oil changes, and in his owner's manual said 10,000 mile. Now I've known people who this happened to John. He went into the dealer, wanted the oil changed. They were doing another service and said, "Okay, change the oil while I'm here." Well, you're not due for an oil change. Well, I know, but I got 4,000 or 5,000 miles on it. I want to change it now. No, we can't. We're not going to do the oil change. And I've had everybody said the same thing to me. They told the dealer, "I don't expect you to cover it. I'll pay for the oil change, but I want you to change it while you got my car in the lift." No, we won't do it, and they refused.
That's
The dealer,
stupid.
this doctor done the same thing. So he did 10,000 mile oil changes. Cylinders 1 and 4, the oil rings froze, scored the cylinders, the short block was toast. So this guy went for a $6,000 repair because they had to buy a new short block. And then this guy, he reconditioned the head on the bench because it was in good shape. Popped the valves, cleaned them, put them back in, new oil seals, and of course gaskets and a water pump and all that stuff. And he was talking about, the oil change interval, and said, "I'll tell you this." He says, I'm a dealer tech. He says, if you think when you go to Toyota, he goes, you get great service. We do great service and we're trained. But if you think you're getting Toyota oil, he goes, you're not. He goes, brown and slippery is all it's got to be. He goes, that's what the dealership buys. And that's what we put in the cars. And he says, so you think you're getting Toyota oil? And I guess they got to put a Toyota filter on it, which is probably somebody else's filter with a Toyota silk screen on it now. That really woke me up to dealership stuff. And he said, you know what? He goes, do yourself a favor. Do your own changes or go to a shop who will do what you want and just buy any brand oil that's a name brand and filter and do it no more than 5,000 miles. He says, and you'll save yourself a lot of.
I can't believe they wouldn't do it when the guy asked them, though. That's stupid.
Like I said, I know John went through that, and I know other people who asked and almost insisted, change the oil, I'll pay for it. No, we will not change your oil. It's not due.
We had, when I was at the dealer, and of course this has been 20 years now since, when they changed the intervals to 7,500 miles.
Yeah.
And that was, and on the Audis, you did an oil change and a filter, but you did the filter every other oil change.
Oh yeah, that was common, right?
And that, of course it was, saving the world. We, watch out for the Black Forest. All this stuff.
Right.
I can't tell you how many times people would come in and say, "I want the filter change," and the service writer up front will say, "No, this is this is what we do. This blah blah." And I'm like, "Look, dude, all you gotta do is walk up to the front counter, buy the filter, and then put it on the front seat, and I'll take care of it." Because personally, I think it's ridiculous. Also, that
for what the filter costs.
Yeah, for what the filter costs. Well, the funniest part, speaking as, even though I don't own a shop, but an oil change is one of those things that it's the least expensive repair that could be the most costliest one.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why I always thought it was funny. I worked for one shop. The guy went out, and this was, 30 years ago. This is when he brought some real Mexicans. Day helpers. You know what I'm saying? This guy, the shop owner, picked up these guys at 7-Eleven, brought them to the shop and said, these guys are going to do the oil changes while you guys are doing the work so that you don't have to slow down and do it. And I said, you're taking the most easiest job that could be the most expensive job. And they, one of the guys did what you did, Scott. They double gassed it. And I said, yeah, you better stop that guy before he gets to the stop sign. He goes, why? I said, he's leaking oil. I said, this guy has no training or know what he's looking for. You just tell him to change the filter and put oil in.
Right.
And it could cost you a motor, And so it's crazy with the oil. Oil change is a crazy thing.
Yeah.
Just in general, when you look at it.
Hey, I got a question. I started, if I have room in my cars or my trucks, or I started doing this in the semis because you got a lot of space under the filter. So I would buy bigger filters, longer filters to hold more oil. Is that a common thing? Do you guys do that too?
Yeah.
I do.
If I could get the right ones, yeah.
Yeah, like a small big block Chevy. There's two filters. There's an extra capacity. One of them holds a full quart of oil. I do. I've done that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My Tahoe on the LS motor, it's only this tall. It's almost not even 2 3/4 tall.
Is that
it's
a spin-on, Scott?
Yeah, it's
all right.
tiny.
Because now you look at the other engines, like my wife's Cruise, that has they went back to the cartridge filters.
Oh yeah.
On top of the engine, and that thing is tiny. That's a small filter.
Well, I went to Valvoline in my truck, my F-150, and they changed the oil. So after, when it needed to be changed again, I said I'll just do it myself. So I went to the auto parts store, got the new filter oil, came home, took it off, and the filter was like 2.5 inches big. And I'm like, wow, they gave him the wrong filter at the dealership because the filter at the dealer, at the auto parts store was bigger.
Yeah.
But it was the right filter, but the oil place put this little tiny filter on it.
Yeah, on the Forge they have two different ones. That was another thing. If you didn't have the space or you needed the space, you could put a smaller filter on, and instead of the bigger filter. That's and I see that.
Yeah.
I still see that today, where somebody says, "Oh, this if it screws on, it screws on." It doesn't really they don't.
Bigger the better.
Yeah, I always try to go
Like
bigger if I can.
That's what we do. If we can fit something, as long as there's space.
Yep.
Yeah.
The old Chevy small block ones, instead of the regular like that, they made those they were
It was 1 quart. Yeah, it was an
7
extra.
inches long.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
it was-
the old Ford ones.
was a 1 quart
The
filter,
1A, what was it? The 1 FLA, which was like a 1 quart.
Yeah.
It looked like a PF45, and then it was extra long or something. Or I think it's something else.
Yeah, there's a couple different ones, but if you can get away, that was the problem that they had with the 6.0s and the Fords on the diesels, because a lot of the aftermarket ones were too short, and if you didn't change the lid over to the right one, the filter would move around in there, and of course
I got a bug over here.
It wouldn't the oil wouldn't circulate correctly, and you'd have all kinds of weird ass things.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Want to hear something interesting?
Nope.
The car I got for my wife, a 2001 Pontiac Grand Prix. Bought it from a friend of a friend who works for Con Ed, and he was a mechanic for Con Ed. What Con Ed did and what he did with this car is every 3,000 miles, he would change the oil filter, but then take a sample of oil and send it out, because that's what they did with Con Ed, and tested the oil. And if the oil came back good, he left it alone. And until it came back bad, then he would change the oil. So he would go like 2-3 filters before changing the oil.
What was the mileage interval, Jim?
I'm sorry?
Do you know what the mileage interval was on
the
until it came
filter.
back bad?
I think 3,000 miles, and it went about 7,000 before you had to actually change the oil.
About 7. Okay. All right.
Now you can go to one of the truck stops that analyze oil. They'll check it there too. Like I'll get my, I think what's it called? Speedco. I think Speedco is like a mechanic place for semis. They'll run a test on the oil too. I got to do my bus actually. I'm going to do it probably next week.
Good to know.
That's what he was also telling me. The guy I bought the car from is like the cheapest guy you ever met. And he's a drag racer too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
That's
races-
how he's a drag racer, because he saved money on oil.
Oh, every bracket racer I knew from back in the day saved money on everything. I mean, they did the coupons. I mean, my buddy Charlie Bellotti, he wouldn't buy anything unless he had a deal on it. He went to alcohol in his car. I was like, why'd you go to alcohol? I was like, I got a good deal on the carburetors. Okay.
Yeah. I'm getting that way.
I think that's the way to go, because I spent money like crazy. Now I'm broke.
Yeah.
I got you guys talking about stuff laying around. I got the engine laying on the side of the garage I'm supposed to put in the wagon, and I have no idea when I'm going to get that done. That's a pretty cool engine. I can't wait to get that in the car.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Ain't gonna get done by itself. Remember that.
Yeah, I know. And
I came across the new L case, and speaking of wagons,
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
Neat.
Nice.
and along with that wagon, they also had a recolor of the 70 Chevelle SS wagon that was blue, and now it's red.
I like
Nice.
that. I like that.
Put that in
nice.
the mail to me. I'll take it.
So
I've got that first one, I think in orange.
you could, yeah. And then this is the treasure hunt of the L case, and it's right up Lewis's alley. It's a 58 Impala, but it's all
Oh, yeah.
ride.
Oh,
that.
And
Where'd you find
Lights
that?
on the roof.
yeah,
Where'd you find that?
These were at I think Target.
See, every time I go look for stuff like that, I never find them.
Good old
Yeah,
Target.
Try a
And
different
then
Target.
what
You gotta
was the
know
other?
a guy.
It's all
You gotta
fucking-
know a guy. Yeah,
Well,
actually, I
30
freaked. I went through the Safeway yesterday, and they had set out 2 shipper boxes, and those are they're the ones that sit at the aisle at the end of the aisle, and they have the slots in them. They have what is it, 3 across and 6 down or 7 down or whatever, and the manager just put them out, and I was like, oh, he goes, I just put them out. They're fresh. And I was like, great. And I said, whoa, wait a minute, buddy. I said, something's wrong here. And he goes, what? I said, there's supposed to be 144 cars in here, and you're short. So where's the other cars at?
Oh,
And
boy.
he was like, oh, well, I got a half case in the back. I didn't dump them all out. And I was like, yeah, go back there and get that case, buddy.
How many
And
did you buy?
He's like, huh?
How many did you buy?
I bought, I don't know, it was 4 or 5. But I was like, he goes, you knew how many were? I said, you think I'd be banned in Vegas for counting cards? I said, I know what's supposed to be here, and we're a little short. So if this is fresh, there's some floating around someplace. So
You think he was?
Hot Wheels.
You think he was going to take them himself?
No, he just. I mean, see, that was.
Why would he take a half case out, though? You know, I mean, I'm thinking he's
That was-
Maybe there's only
that
so
was
much
just-
room on the
just right.
wall to hang them.
he's salting
See,
his own little collection there.
I had gotten these were the 5 that I got.
They're gonna put your picture in the security room.
Yeah, it was the
Brian, how many die casts do you own? Just wondering.
CR8, the new Corvette.
Ooh.
Nice.
And then this is a treasure hunt. This is from the this is a Mini Cooper.
Nice.
And then they had. I'm not much of a Japanese guy, but they do a lot of Japanese stuff. But this is the Skyliner.
Oh yeah, Skyliner.
That's
Yeah.
a
Nice.
popular
I
car.
like the way that one looked, and I do collect the Hot Wheels Racing series, and this was the Nissan 35 GT RR.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
So the ones with the Hot Wheel markings. This is another new one. This was the Viper.
Nice.
Now, how do you
But-
tell
Very
which
cool.
ones are the hot ones to get? Like you said, the steer?
Well, I don't know if I can show you this one. This is a this one. They have what is called a treasure hunt, and then they have what's a super treasure hunt. And a treasure hunt, I don't know if I can show, or it's going to be kind of hard. It has a little flame marking. I don't know if I can show it. But
On the
right
card?
there, see that little flame, the little red
Yeah.
flame? Those are marked, and like I said, that's a limited run. And then on a super, I haven't found a super in a while. But on a super, they have different color paint. It's Spectra Flame. It's a metallic-y paint, and it has real rubber wheels.
Oh wow.
And those are even harder. I mean, those are hard to come by.
So you can tell through the package if it has the rubber wheels.
Yeah, and there's also on this one. Let me show you. I have. I don't have the one really easy. See, this was another treasure hunt. And
Jim's looking for rubber wheels.
They have on the back of the card. They actually have a silver flame back behind.
That's neat.
Which one's that's a 55?
Now
Oh, that's the wagon.
the wagon.
right.
Yeah.
The sissy
I
one.
saw it at my buddy's hobby shop. I said, it's wagon. It's cool. I like it. I'm buying it.
Yeah.
Looks like it's got a straight axle.
Back when they came out with the Impala SS's, he got me a couple of those.
Yeah. So, but I don't.
And with one of them, I committed the mortal sin.
Uh-oh.
I took it out of the package.
It's okay.
That's okay.
You got to. I mean,
You're not buying it to make money on it.
you know, like this is all my Volkswagens.
Oh, jeez.
Brian, how many die-cast cars do you think you own?
I have no idea.
Enough
Enough.
to hang on your wall around everywhere?
Scott,
Yeah.
it's enough that when he comes home and his wife says, "What's the matter, Brian? You had a hard day?" He's like, "Yeah, man, I had a really tough day. It was bad out there on the route." She knows he had a bad day in Target. It wasn't on the pay route. It wasn't because people didn't pay. It was because they couldn't find the super whatever the hell it is.
Well, these are. Well, this one was I don't have any Kroger's stores, but this was a Kroger special. You bought 20 cars and sent them. It was a 356 Speedster.
Cool.
That's cool.
You sent in 20 cars and a receipt. I had to come up with a receipt. That was kind of hard.
Come on, you print receipts.
I collect all the bigger ones, like the big muscle machine ones.
Yeah, well, like I said, I have my pool room. There's a video where I'm doing a drawing, and in my pool room, I have NASCAR. I have all four walls are covered from with cars in them, and I got way too many. I couldn't tell you.
Did Matco ever have their own edition ones?
Yeah, I got a whole bunch of Matco cars. We do a lot of the Rat Fink ones. I don't.
I got those Snap-on 41 Willies. There's like a dime bank or something they call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go. The thing flips open and take a key and open up the bottom.
But I've got. Dude, it's terrible. It's terrible.
That many.
Yeah, and it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I definitely have a problem. So,
hey, you know what? That's your hobby. That's it's not a problem.
That's what we do. That's what we do. The women don't understand it, but that's what we do.
Yep.
So,
Yeah,
and they started this whole new series with the newer Dodges. This is a Demon, and there's.
Oh, I like that.
They got like vintage
Ram Charger.
Yeah, vintage was it like NHRA paint schemes on them. So there's another one. They got two of them out. I could only find the one, but I'll come across it. They don't.
Well, guys, it's 10 o'clock. I'm off.
All right, Scott. Appreciate you.
All right,
See
Scott.
Yep,
Good
Scott.
chat as usual. Take care, guys.
All
Take
right,
care.
take
Be
it easy.
safe.
You got it. Be good.
All right.
So, but yeah, it's a bad habit. And then my El Camino. This is a new one here. The El Camino 68.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
I always wanted
Very
El
cool.
Camino. I think I might sell my truck and get an El Camino so I can carry the bike in the back and tow that behind the bus.
It's funny how this El Camino is because it's got the motor in the back.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's transversed.
Yeah, that's kind of wacky looking.
Yeah, it's
It is.
yeah, it's kind of funny how that is. But
See, I was thinking to get rid of a car payment and get a El Camino and put an LS in it, and you know what I mean.
What year?
I like. I'm good at from the 70s, 80s. I like them all.
yeah,
Nice. I've really been digging the 64s.
That's
For some reason-
it's 4 and 5. Those are very plain, but yeah,
I saw one the other day. It was like, not a bad looking car.
you can find the later ones, Lewis, for a decent price.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Oh, yeah.
Get myself out of a truck payment and still have a nice vehicle, good drivetrain, and I'll still be able to put my bike in the back.
A lot of rust. you got to redo the. You got to do something with the suspension because Peaches she's a stout girl, so
Yeah, she ain't a little kid.
I ain't no dirt bike,
Yeah. Hey, that's where you put
Yeah.
air ride.
That's
There you go.
There you go.
Perfect.
That's when you got to learn to put on your Captain American outfit and shoot out of the back of the truck, out of the back of the El Camino there.
All I need is the mask.
That's all you
Yeah,
need,
yeah,
man. Just remember,
There you
no
go.
cape. No cape, because capes get you in trouble, dude. They get caught up in the chain or something, You got to watch it.
The greatest American hero. I'm going to get his outfit.
Right.
Yeah, that's funny.
I'm just trying to figure out ways to cut back on money, but still have a truck and, still get stuff done.
Yeah. I would take some measurements and make sure that Peaches would fit in the El Camino bed because it's not that long. And bikes
I don't think it's a true 8 foot, is it?
No, and bikes end up being longer than you think once you try to put them in something.
I'm going to measure it right now.
Yeah.
There we go.
Detail.
We're gonna find this out.
Right.
We're going to get to the heart of the issue right now.
Yeah. Figure it out right now.
We need to look up how long an El Camino bed is.
Right.
That's it. Get Google.
And believe it or not, in some states, if you drive with the tailgate down, you'll get a ticket.
Oh, yeah.
She's 8 foot.
She's 8 foot. Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh, you're gonna have a hard time getting in an El Camino.
Well, she's 8 foot. I wouldn't be able to shut the tailgate, but to the wheels is 7.5.
Allergy. The first and only.
So maybe I could put a ramp inside the bed so she goes up towards the rear window.
Well, if you air ride the truck, then you just drop it down. It's a lot easier. You just lower the. Because I learned that trick years ago moving bikes. It's like you don't try and pick it up on the street. You put your truck at the end of the driveway so it's lower, and then your ramp is at an easier angle.
Slant.
You're not pushing up as much. A lot easier.
So I'm gonna play around with it. Anybody know what the size of a El Camino bed?
I think Justin's looking right now.
I actually am looking.
They're probably going to be different year to year.
Yeah, this guy says 64 is like 78.5 inches.
Well, I can't afford 64, so let's go up into the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to be able to afford with an 80. I mean, some of those, the one that had the what was that, a Malibu front end?
Right, SS, Monte Carlo SS.
Yeah, the El Camino SS.
G-body.
Monte Carlo front end.
This guy says 80 inches. Probably for a later one.
Mm-hmm. Well, I might have to do some fabricating. That's all. Cut a hole in the bed where the back end will stick out through the tailgate.
First, we raised the roof on the bus. Now we're just lengthening the bed on the Camino.
I ain't scared.
You'll have to take that panel that goes from the inside the bed, to where the back of the seat is, right? And then you had to make a tube in there the size of a tire so that goes in.
Yep.
So
there it is, right there.
It'll tuck be built for speed. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
all arrowed out.
Yep, we can figure it out. I know a couple guys.
Hey, and you got the hammers to bang the metal. Don't
there
worry.
we go.
Right. I got them.
The guys and the tools.
That's it.
Oh shit.
So that's my dream. So I don't know. I don't know if that ever come true, but that's something on my mind.
Well, gotta have a dream.
Yeah.
Something to shoot for.
We all dream. We all got a dream.
Yeah, because I'm paying for this F-150, man. It's rotting out faster than you can spit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Drives me crazy.
This was one of my shop owners. This was his.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
59.
Yeah.
My grandpa had a boat that had almost the same fins on it.
Yeah.
I always wanted to get an El Camino like that and
So
paint that in the boat the same color.
Those cars at highway speed, those fins acted like a wing, and the air coming under it would lift the car, would lift it off the road.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. That's why the next year they changed it. They redesigned them.
Now I've seen a station wagon with those wings. A couple weeks ago, I seen it, and I couldn't tell what kind of car it was because he went by me too fast. But it had those kind of.
He was taking flight.
He was flying.
Yeah, he was rolling.
I had walked by a car, and it was lowered, and it was damn it. I can't remember. I didn't take a picture of the whole car, but I thought it was very clean, and it was, it had wheel flares. It was like a Honda or something. But I thought this was pretty neat on the door handles.
Oh yeah.
He had drilled and cut out. They were like what's that? What you do with the metal with the dies, dimple dies.
Dimple die.
Yeah, but that's what he did to the door hand. I mean, the handles. I thought it was very clean, and I thought it looked pretty good. I was like, well, I don't have the problem, but I can imagine somebody sticking their finger in there and getting past that first knuckle. It might hurt a little bit.
That's something that's on my wish list of tools. I wanted to put. I still have it under my hood. If you look on my inner wheel wells, I have these ovals drawn in chalk, and I wanted to put like 3 holes in there with a dimple dies to extract the air out of the engine compartment because the wheels would create like a fan effect. So I was talking to Lou about this a long time ago. You can buy dimple dies separately, and then of course you could buy them in a set. And I'm thinking, well, if I buy one, it's like having one punch or one.
Yeah, you'll never have the right size.
I want the set, but I'll probably never use the set.
You'll just use one.
Yeah, so I never bought the one, and I never did the project. So I'm looking at these chalk outlines every time I open the hood.
Actually, I watched a guy on YouTube, and he made a set of dimple dies out of old wheel bearings.
Out of a wheel, yeah, I can see it. The tapered part, yeah.
And actually, I was very curious about it, and it does work. I mean, so for a while, I was collecting old wheel bearings in the shop. I'd walk in and say, "Do you guys need those?" So I got 2 boxes of old wheel bearings, and I was like,
different sizes.
Yeah. So when I get in my dimple die phase, I want to.
I tell you, it's like when I was doing some metal work on the car and I needed to do like a semi-round or a rounded indent. I'm looking around and what do you have? Like, wow, a trailer hitch, Paul. I'm like, this is perfect. And man, that thing, I banged the hell out of that. I made so many different indents with that. Like, that was, you just got to look around and see what you got,
Yeah. That's what I liked with that Ian guy.
Ian Rossell, yeah.
Yeah. He, when he was doing one of his projects and he needed something, and of course he had like a hole in his boots with the steel toes, the steel covers. And he's like pulled it out of his boot and used that to shape whatever he needed to shape and weld in, and I'm like, dude, you just look around. He borrowed his dog's dog dish to make the speedometer head on one of his cars, so it's, like I said, you can look everywhere and be amazed at the shapes and sizes. I think that Gene guy said something about the same thing about,
right.
You just have it's right back, like you said, Ray, to the body guys having their favorite piece of wood or their rock or whatever they may, it's crazy.
Very true.
Yep.
Well, that gets into the subject of modifying or making tools, and we've talked about that before. I have a couple of drawers in my thing in the garage, my drawer divider
Toolbox.
for for when I do carburetors. I have special measuring tools and gauges and things like that. But a couple of the things I have is a punch that I ground down the end that takes the roll pin out of a quadrajet, jet, and another chisel that I actually shaped and then contoured and took a corner out of. and I forget what. Oh, I know. When you take a Holly apart, if you have old gaskets that gets glued to the Holly, especially on a metering block, it's a little channel. It's maybe 3/16 wide, and a screwdriver doesn't get in there. And nothing gets in there. So I made a chisel, a small chisel that I ground down and sharpened to fit in that groove. And that's my, so those special tools just stay in there because that's all I'm going to ever use it for.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Good idea.
Louis, I'm sure you got some pretty cool stuff with your leather work, right?
Yeah, nothing made really. Everything,
Okay.
but the older tools are, you can see that somebody made them, and those are the better tools. Let's see if I have anything up here.
I inherited from somebody somewhere along the line there. It's like a little metal barrel, and it has a little wire gauge coming out of each end. And on the metal barrel in the middle is a flat milled part, and it'll say on it 59 olds. And those two ends, one end might be like 40 thousandths thick, and the other piece may be like 18 thousandths thick. And what they were for were doing carburetor adjustments. If you ever look at a carburetor sheet, they'll tell you like the choke valve angle has to be fully closed 30 thousandths. That's what that gauge is for. So I got a drawer full of these things. Unfortunately, they're all for older cars, but you can use them for other things. So I just like to keep them because it's a piece of history.
Oh yeah.
That's like the old Ford wrenches. They had A and
one.
B on them.
And what did that mean, Brian?
Huh? Well, when you looked at the manual, it said use wrench A, and it had an A. It's like a ½ inch, and a B was 9/16 size. But Ford on the wrenches had A, B, and they had numbers and letters on them and so forth.
Ford always was overly simplistic, weren't they?
Yeah, well, it's use the A side of the wrench to take this loose, and
so I'm watching Adam 12 tonight. What happens? The guy's got to respond to an accident. There were two cars that hit, and they were on fire. It was a Pontiac, and the guy says, "I don't know what happened. She just stopped in front of me, and then my brake pedal went right to the floor." And he's driving like a '67 Mustang Fastback. I'm like, "Yeah, Mustang lost its brakes. I've never heard that before."
All right, guys, time for me to bail.
All right, Jim.
All right, Jim.
All right, Jim.
Let's see you.
Take care, guys.
All right, take it easy.
Hello. Oh God.
So I'm on vacation this week, and
Nice.
my wife kidnapped me. She's staying at my son's house. He's about 45 minutes away.
Yeah.
So I was take her up there to drop her off, and she goes, "Why don't you spend the night too? 1 night, 2 nights, 3 nights." So I snuck out of there this morning when she was asleep.
Oh.
How is Lewis doing?
He's doing great. He had a baby boy.
Yes.
And he's on a mission. He's doing well.
Yes.
Awesome.
He certainly has his crap together, that's for sure.
He does. I don't know where he got it from because mine is messed up.
Yeah, I missed it. I remember, years ago, he was on every week. He was on with us in the beginning every week. And that was some good stuff because he brought a whole nother level to the show, a younger guy's level, and not necessarily a hardcore car guy level, but he always got us thinking and talking about something. And I really enjoyed those days.
Yeah, I'm going to get him back on. He graduated from college, then he got a job in Cleveland, then he got married, and now he had a baby, bought a house. They're doing everything right, man. It's just scary.
Going through the steps correctly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Everything's planned. He's going to buy a house. He's going to live there so long. Then he's going to have a baby. Then he's going to, I don't know where he came from.
Well, they say sometimes it skips a generation,
Yeah. Yeah. Good
Or
kid,
he just
man.
Lewis, you got to look at it this way. He took really good notes.
Yeah.
Don't do this. Don't do what Dad's doing.
That's what I tell my girls all the time. I said, look, I can make this really easy for you. This is the way you need to do it. Don't follow in my footsteps.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was up there for the last 3 days. But I got to do some stuff. I got some leather stuff. Rich sent me his dashboard for that wood car.
Oh yeah.
So I got that. I got to do that, and he sent me the back part. Check this out. This is the back part around the barreled seats. So I don't know if you be able to see the whole thing.
Oh,
right.
okay.
So this is going to go around the back of the seats.
Very cool.
Nice.
So I'm gonna tool in the leather. I'm gonna tool grapevines and stuff in there.
Right.
So it'll be to go with his thing.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I'm starting that tomorrow, and I got a couple other things to do. So I'm just keeping it moving.
Excellent. No, that's good.
Yeah, but I think I'm gonna take my carburetors off Peaches. I think that's my problem. I think it's dirty inside or something because they're synced. I got them synced pretty close.
Right.
So I think they're dirty. So I'm gonna take them apart, clean them out, and see if that works.
Yeah.
I haven't rode her this year at all.
Wow.
Yeah, but I've been busy too. Plus, I had carpal tunnel. I couldn't even pull a clutch in if I wanted to.
I'll tell you, man, for the last couple of days, the arthritis I have in this thumb, it goes right up into my wrist. I mean, just to unscrew a bottle cap is like excruciatingly painful. Or to squeeze a tube of toothpaste, like, ow, fuck.
Yep.
It's amazing how the littlest thing can almost bring you to your knees.
Well, I didn't realize the doctor told me that the carpal tunnel goes from here and goes up into your neck.
Oh, wow.
That's the freeway. And so you could have neck problems and it could cause this, or you could have problems here and cause neck problems.
Okay.
So in therapy, they've been working on my neck and everything. So I'm feeling pretty good.
Good.
So hopefully I'm trying to stay away from the surgery,
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. As long as you can. Yeah, stay away out of their grasp.
Yeah, yep. But I'm gonna pull the carbs off maybe tomorrow and see what I see.
Yeah.
But I'm still gonna switch it over to that Weber, that single carburetor. But I got to make the manifold, so it's so busy.
A little fab work.
But, a little fab work, a little duct tape.
It works.
Yeah.
I mean, you could probably 3D print one out of the right kind of nylon.
I was thinking that, Ray. I was thinking about talking to somebody, see if they can 3D print me one.
Well,
because no heat's going through there.
No, my buddy's got a motorcycle shop, and they got a 3D printer. They 3D print air boxes and velocity stacks and like parts for bikes that aren't made yet. Newer bikes. They just 3D print them. They make them.
Yeah, I might look into that because what people are doing is they're taking the carburetor, turning it upside down, and then they're putting the pipe on the carbs so they know exactly where it goes into the boot on the bike. You know what I mean?
Right.
So then they have the pipe come up, curve into a metal box, it could be a circle box. Everybody does it different.
Right.
And then the plate, then the carburetor sits on the plate, and that's how they make the manifold.
Yeah.
But I think I can get it 3D printed if I send the right dimensions.
I think so.
Yeah.
I need to look into that. I'd rather do that than. Let me see. I might have a picture. I don't know if I'll be able to do it on the phone. Wait a minute. Let's see. I do have a picture of one, but I ain't gonna be able to show you because I'm on the phone.
Oh.
Anyway, that's what I'm trying to do. So I'm gonna play around tomorrow. At least try to get a couple rides in before it gets cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yep. Oh, I bought a new trunk for it too. A slimline, one of those razor trunks. And I painted her up, and I made a new. I threw the old bracket away, so I had to make a new one. And I did that, and now she's not running, so I ain't even put it on yet.
Yeah, no need, right?
Yeah. I got to paint it up, though. Check it out. Is it?
Oh, there you go. Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, so I got to paint it. Look like that ain't a rat turd, is it? No. So I got all kind of projects popping.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Justin, you doing anything besides work?
I mean, work, car shows, do a bunch of family trips.
That's
Actually,
good.
that's what we're doing this weekend. We're camping. We just got done. We had a work camping trip last weekend.
Uh-huh.
Yep, threw the family, the dog, and all our stuff in the Lincoln, and away we went.
Nice.
What year Lincoln you got?
80. It's
Okay.
Mark 6.
Oh, yeah? 4-door?
A land yacht.
Two. Two-door,
Oh.
actually.
It is a two-door. Wow. They
Yeah.
couldn't have made too many of those.
I see more 4-doors than anything.
Absolutely.
I seen a couple of 2-doors around here. A couple of the gangsters got them.
It's a cool car. I'm enjoying the heck out of it.
Where did you find that, Justin?
So we had a guy that was working for us doing some paint work, and he moved on. He actually started his own shop doing hand lettering and stuff like that. And he got a hold of me one day. He's like, "Hey, my buddy's selling this car. Thought you might be interested." And I'm like, "Oh, joke's on me. I am." And so, yeah, it was his buddy's dad's car, and he drove it for a couple years, and like he had passed away, so he was kind of selling off a bunch of stuff, and it's pretty cool. I mean, hasn't really been messed with too much, other than somebody deleted the fabric top in the opera window.
Oh, wow.
Which I think looks really cool.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's factory 351. The old 2-barrel variable Venturi carb on it.
Very well.
Well,
just
you know a guy that can put the window back in, right? The upper windows.
Good.
If you can find them, that's it.
Right. I might leave it. It's actually kind of a neat look. A lot of people have commented on it, like, because something's off about it. It's like, yeah, it's missing the window.
Right.
Like I said, somebody had, filled it in.
Yeah. I bet they're hard to find.
That 62 Lincoln is getting quite an education. He was looking to do a Holly Sniper on it maybe, but it's a 2-barrel engine on this thing. And he found out just recently that the engine is called a MEL. It's Mercury Edson Lincoln, right? I mean, I just learned this too. So that's where you get your parts from. So he's looking for a 4-barrel intake for this thing. He's got a guy in PA, I think, that has it for him.
That is exactly what I'm looking for my car. I just picked up not one, but 2 Hollies off of projects at work.
Right.
And I just need a 4-barrel intake.
Now, what engine's in your car?
That one's a Windsor 351.
All right, so Edelbrock has those intakes.
Yeah, that's easy enough to find. A little harder than a 302, but
yeah.
But yeah, we had two projects. One we just did a Holly Sniper kit on, and another one we replaced with a. I want to say it was a quick fuel.
He was
basically Holly.
He was talking to a guy today. I think in PA, different guy who rebuilds. They just rebuild Ford motors. They're Ford specialists. So this guy, and so my buddy Chris was talking to him about doing the Holly, the Sniper cross, and he said, he told them that in no uncertain terms, they've been having a lot of problems with guys that use the MSD systems, the distributors and/or the control boxes with the Sniper. They're getting RFI feedback to the distributor, and the cars aren't running right. And all I thought of is the dual Snipers that I got. The guy had him in his car and drove it 50 miles, said he didn't like it and took him off. Then put a single Sniper on and didn't like it and took it off and went to dual Dominators on a tunnel ram. And now he's happy. And I'm thinking, I wonder if he was running an MSD ignition in that thing. And that was his problem.
Could have been. I know we had problems with Phytex for a while.
About Tom did too, yeah.
So we were actually wrapping the signal wire that comes from the TAC with some various sleeves and wraps, and
Shield
seemed to help.
wire.
Yeah. I think it was, where did we get it from? Wire Care, I think. They made some like shielding wrap, and that seems to help.
Okay.
So far, I haven't had any issues with the snipers, but yeah, thinking back, I don't know if we put one on with a car with MSD on it.
I mean, so many cars have MSD components in them. It's ridiculous. I mean, I know I'm going to bite the bullet and buy the Holley distributor, even though I have a brand new Pertronics in my car. I'm going to buy the Holley distributor because it'll mate with the sniper, and then I'll have timing control. So I'll be able to retard in advance by going by what the computer says.
You have a dual Holley you set on that, right?
Yeah.
Like that pretty well?
Well, I don't have it on the car yet.
Oh, okay.
I like it sitting on my workbench.
Looks like it's gonna be good, huh?
And even just today, I had to move one of them. Those things are so freaking light. It's amazing how much lighter than a carburetor they are. There's like half a carburetor. So, and I was really happy because the ones I got, they're black, and the carburetors I got, I have the Edelbrock. They're the polished ones, but there's a name for them. I forget the latest version.
Endurashine.
Yeah, Endurashine. I'm trying to think of what they call the carburetor. They anyway, it's just the Edelbrock 4-barrels. But right after I got that set up, they came out with the black ones. And I'm like, damn, that's what I would have wanted. So now I got my black throttle bodies. So
there you go. Yeah, they do look nice.
Yeah.
I think 90% of them we've used are black. We did put one polished one on a car.
Yeah. No, it depends on the scheme. I mean, my engine's black. I did my, the valve cover's a black wrinkle. I mean, it's all black. I painted the alternator black. The AC compressor is black. Everything's black. So.
Hey, Ray, I got a question for you.
Shoot away.
On the bus, I was thinking about putting Impala lights in the back. Three Impala lights, 64 or 5. But I can't find them. If I do find them, they're really bad shape, and then the replacement ones are pretty expensive. So I'm looking for an idea of a different car tail lights that I can put back there. Something flat or something with the separate. What do you think?
What year Impala were you looking at?
64, 5, 6.
Okay, those are the round lights. Let's see. What else could you use?
Now, the older Mustangs, I probably could go with something like that, the one panel on each side.
Yeah, you have to like the look. I mean, when you put a Mustang light, when you do a buggy, I don't care what you put that light in. Those are Mustang lights.
Yeah.
The Impala lights on a bus may not look like Impala lights.
Mm-hmm.
It may take a few seconds to figure that one out.
Well, what I was going to do is I was going to have Keith airbrush that panel that goes all the way across the back of the Impala that goes around the lights.
Wow,
So
yeah.
I was going to have him airbrush that all the way across.
Right.
But I'm having a hard time with finding the lights at a decent price or in good shape.
You could go later model like Corvette. They had the rounded or almost the oval lights that they use. You could use
unless you go with the Thunderbird lights.
We'll take them right out of your car.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
This is a 66. A 65 had the bird in there. Had the outline of the bird. It had the bird across, but this is a 66 Thunderbird.
How long is that? I don't.
That's
16, 18 inches.
Yeah,
somewhere around there.
I think that might fit.
It's nice.
So I have
couple of those.
4 lights on each side.
and you have
That's
see
six
this is see that would be the lens.
Oh yeah, that might look good.
So
Yeah.
That might look pretty slick.
and then the base is this is the base. The base is fairly simple. This would be the base, and it's pretty flat. And this is where it's bolted up on the back of the valance, but you could change that.
Mm-hmm.
But
That would be really cool.
You want to sell them?
actually, I might, because I think this is my third set.
Of course it is.
So
Yeah.
let me measure tomorrow and see if I have enough space. But I might.
Yeah,
I might
these aren't too bad. These aren't too bad. There's a little bit of pitting on them. But
Yeah,
these were the same that were in like a 68 Shelby is what used these.
Mm-hmm.
But these originally came from a 65 Thunderbird. It was cheaper buying Thunderbird versus buying the S word.
Right.
sure,
Right.
sure.
So,
Yep.
Well, let me measure tomorrow, and I'll let you know if they'll fit.
yeah, like I said, because I think this is my third. I mean, I think the only thing I only have one lens cover. The other one was broken, and I got two in my car. I had to see what I got. Like I said, Lewis, I'm digging through so much, so much stuff.
Well, yeah, let me
That's
know.
the beauty of this. You're gonna find stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy, but that's like I said, on the bus, I think it would fit because it's flat and square.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Along with everything else. Of course, when you were saying Mustang light, Ray automatically was thinking like the 65, 66, the
smaller.
the smaller square ones with the three ends.
Mm-hmm.
There he is, Vince.
Hey, Vince. How's it going?
Vince just put a bunch of stuff up in the private chat about Fords and Mel engines and all sorts of stuff that nobody saw.
I didn't realize that was the private chat. Congratulations,
Doesn't matter.
Louis, on Grandpa
Listen,
Grandpa Lee there.
when
Thank
your
you.
screen is full screen, you don't see any chat, private or otherwise, so it don't matter.
Well, I hit chat and I didn't realize that was a
Private.
then it was like private chat, and then I saw public. Yeah, I likewise throw my condolences out there about losing, Chassis John. That was a kick in the gut. I
can't even really come to terms when I hear somebody say that.
when I saw his last post where he just said, "I'm sick and a lot of pain. I'm done," and that's what I picked up from it. And that's realized what was going on, going back a few, and I think Ray, you and I have talked a bit. I lost two uncles within like 9 months. Same thing. By the time they realized something was wrong, both of them had stage 4 pancreatic and liver cancer and were dead within 6 months of them finding it.
Yep.
And they tried everything and just gone.
There's not much they can try. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Right.
At that point, it's make the patient comfortable.
I know one uncle, they fought, they did chemo, they did everything they could do. And they told my aunt after he passed away that his numbers looked exactly like when they realized that he had cancer, when he had it.
Really?
6 months as he, passed away. Everything they did, nothing. Didn't change any of the panels, not one bit. And they were doing the $10,000 chemo shots and everything they could do. Didn't change a thing. He was dead within 6 months.
And I'm sure that there's been advances made, but where does all the millions of dollars of cancer research money go? And what do they do with it?
In somebody's pocket, but don't get me started.
The drug companies, they don't make money when you get well.
Right.
Right. Yep.
You're right.
Yeah, Lewis, when you were talking about doing that, I was like, T-Bird lights with the sequential, and have what's his name do the LED conversion on them.
You know what? He retired, so we lost our feed.
Ruh-roh.
From Radiance.
Yeah, he
retired.
Lights.
Did he?
Yeah,
He
Mitch
retired.
retired.
I'm sure I got some connections in Florida with some. I'll make some phone calls and see if I can't find somebody who's doing that same kind of LED conversions, because his stuff was really nice.
Oh yeah.
I have I have a Ford LED conversion for the Thunderbird lights. I have the old windshield wiper arm. That's what I really want to put back in the car. because I like the motor, the sound of the motor with and it's a little slower flash. But
The sequential deal.
Yeah, and but in like I can't remember what the date on the box is, like 80 something. They did it's a factory Ford conversion, and it's LED lighting for the upgrade your sequentials.
How does the windshield wiper motor deal work, Brian?
It has a motor and it has an arm, and it goes across and makes it has 3 contacts.
Oh, okay.
When you turn on your turn signal, the motor in the back runs, and it hits the contacts, and it's flashing the lights.
Got it.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
Then they had a stick of dynamite. They call them a stick of dynamite, but it's 3 resistor packs, and they're bundled together. It looks like a M80 type thing.
I guess that seems like a trend because they use that in their brake systems too.
Yeah, and then they went to this LED conversion. But the problem with the windshield wiper motor, they were down in the wheel well on the birds, and they all filled up with water. And to find one that still works is pretty hard.
Right.
We did a Scott Drake electric deal. Those are pretty nice. We did that on the Cougar.
Yeah.
It was like a little sequential box you wire in. You can kind of adjust how it flashes.
The Cougar version of those lights had a whole bunch of little lines going down the center. Instead of the red glass, it had a whole bunch of lines going down.
Right.
I bet you I know who else would have it.
Probably so.
Yeah.
Scott Drake does stuff. Ron Francis does good stuff. CJ Pony, I forget. I think they use. I think either was it Ron Francis? I think they use his.
They use both. I know they use a lot of Scott Drake stuff too.
Yeah, because they pattern theirs directly after the OEM stuff.
Yeah.
So if you want you want a Ford harness, it's going to look just like the Ford harness did.
All right, they don't list sequential taillights.
You got to look under a Shelby. On a Mustang, you got to look under a Shelby, 67, 68.
No, I'm looking in the Ron Francis catalog, and on the taillights, just taillight conversions and taillight bright bulbs, and I'm sure they would have it in here. I just don't know where the hell it is.
That is a pretty neat feature. I was thinking I would like to do that.
Yeah, I saw one kit that you had the option, Lewis. It would do the disco or just the straight. Everything hits at once. Mm-hmm. So I don't remember. I'll do some digging where I found that. But it was like I said, you had the option. You could do the sequential, blip, 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 or just all 3 hit at once. So if you want to change it up, you don't want the sequential, all 3 would just blink at once. So.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, with an electronic box, you can do any of that. You can just choose it on the fly because it's all electronic.
Yeah, you just like a dip switch. Basically, you just flip the dip switch and okay, there it is, done.
Right.
That was why I always liked when I worked with super shops and all those years, and everybody used to talk crap about Mallory ignitions. It's like, well, that's funny. I don't have to go buy chips for my high fire ignition. I pop the cover, change a couple of dip switches, and now the rev limiter and 2-step, and I'm not buying chips that get lost and broken and messed up. And hell, now actually Mallory is owned by Holly. It's been incorporated into the Holly brand. So,
and that's for a reason.
I'm betting Holly's owned by Mr. Gasket.
I'm betting a lot of the Holly quote unquote ignition problem or ignition sources and stuff probably just raided the part shelves at Mallory and just put this part number on it. And but technology has come so far. I was trying to explain to a guy about building a hot rod 20 years ago versus now, and it's like, dude, you have no clue what it was like even 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And fuel injection was, Ray can attest, you go to the junkyard, you strip the harness off, you pull pieces and stuff, and you took all of the factory stuff, and then maybe you could find a who was it used to do for the Ford? They had a step between the computer where you put it between the computer and the harness, and then you could actually get in there with a laptop and adjust some of the parameters. A piggyback that you get a piggyback system. Now it's, you know, the Holly systems are just the Sniper Pro, just, you know, all of that stuff you can run. You know, it's so flexible now with the computer, and computers have gotten so advanced.
Yeah, sure has.
Yeah. Well, hell, you can put it all on your cell phone now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Run with
Do
an
it all
app.
by
was-
your cell phone.
Yep. I thought it was funny that 36 olds we built. Yeah, it's got the air ride on it, and I'm sitting here on my phone. The car's heading every which way, and like I said, I'm on my phone, controlling the air ride on a car.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yep.
So on that Thunderbird tail end, how does the back end look? What year is that?
That was this one's a 65.
65.
I'll send you pictures, Lewis, with measurements.
Okay, because maybe I'll have that airbrushed across the whole back end, so it looks like that panel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they were. I don't have my bird book here, because those were like tubular, right? I mean, those were because they had a flat panel on them. Yeah, I'll send you pictures with measurements of the lights.
I'm gonna do some trick stuff with the grill too. Rick, I'm gonna have him maybe do some CNC machine stuff for me.
Brian, didn't they go from the jet tail lights to the sequentials like that?
Yeah,
Because like the 60, 61 and 2s and up to 3 had the big round, you know, like the turbo
Round lights, yeah.
yeah.
You know,
Wait a minute, what
turbine
year had those
looking.
little crescent-shaped lights? Not on a Mustang, on the Fords. Was it 60, 61? And then they went to the round ones, the big round ones.
Yeah, I just in my mind when the Thunderbird I always think of the sequential, you know, the big ones like what Brian was just showing, or the jet age birds that had the big, you know, that looked like the big exhaust tips.
Yeah. Yeah, that was early 60s was the jet ones.
Hey, you know what? I know that'll fit because the lights that are on the bus right now are 7 inches round, and there's 3 lights, and they're spread out a little bit. So I'll probably have 20. I bet you I got 25 inches
Oh, plenty.
to play with.
And you could make a plate to put these in, to put those in, you know, to fill that in.
Yep.
Like a box,
Yep,
almost like a French box.
like a box, like the back.
That's what I was thinking. Yep.
Because that was the problem I had on the 67, 68 Shelbys. The rear deck pan or the rear panel where the tail lights were in, they were fiberglass, and they had the sockets made out to put on, and then of course the lights went on top. And that was the problem I had with my 65 or the 66, because it's metal and there was no place to mount. The guy said, oh, you had to get the panel and switch it all. That's what was the thing. And I didn't want to go through all that. So that's when I found the Thunderbird. And then, of course, I just had the panel cut out and grafted in and had that sit in there. Of course, the Thunderbird ones have the panels built on, so you can put your lights in. You didn't have to worry about trying to make that panel on the later Mustangs.
Good thinking.
They also used them on the California Specials. 68 California Specials had those lights in it.
Yeah, Brian, weren't those tail panels weren't flat though? Didn't they have a bit of a curve to them?
On the Shelbys?
Well, some of the Mustangs that year, like the 7s and 8s.
Yeah, the 70s had the con curve, but the Shelbys had a flat panel on them. They didn't have the deck panel on the back because they had different lights.
Yeah, because Carol and them changing the look of the car from the normal Mustang to a Shelby Mustang. So they, changed the stuff here. And I know a buddy of mine used to had a body shop, and this guy was a doctor in town there, and he came in and he goes, I want you to restore this one. And I got 2 more just like it. He had a fastback, a convertible, and he picked up another fastback, and they were all like 68 or 69 Shelbys with the long nose and the fiberglass and all that on them. And the body guy just goes, man, these are cool cars. He goes, but I hate working on them because all this is glass and the nose is stretched out. And it's like, hey, he's stroking the check. You do what he wants.
Yeah, they're a pain in the ass, all that glass. It's like, it's kind of like messing around with a Corvette. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you get an old Corvette and you think you got yourself a deal, and you realize how bad the glass is on it.
Yeah,
it's a lot of work.
It really is.
That's like with that hood on my car. You know, I've been trying to get back in touch with Kevin Tedds about, you know, because he was telling me to sand down all the paint and everything, then re-gel coat the hood, because it's, you know, it's a fiberglass hood from a 66, and I wanted to, you know, just try to put some, you know, make sure that fiberglass just doesn't completely just disintegrate and rot away. Yeah. And I found the gel coat, but I'm not sure. Justin, you might be able to help me with some of this. We hadn't really been formally introduced, but I wasn't sure if once I gel coated it, do I need to put do I need to primer that or seal that? Or I'm not a glass guy. I don't do boats or vets. So
yeah, honestly, I'm not a whole lot sure either.
Well, the gel coat's the protective part. So if you gel coat it, you should be good.
But here's my question, Brian, or where the question came from. I was watching something and a guy was redoing a 60 something vet, a 62, 63 or whatever. And same thing. They were stripping, they were cleaning the panels up, and then just gel coating the crap out of it to just try to save as much of the original body work and the original body as they could. Uh-huh. And once they had the body sanded and gel coated, they put like a primer or something on it as like a sealer. And I'm thinking, we never discussed that because this is just a hood. Because like I said, it's got,
I would think a primer, because that's what your paint's going to stick to.
Yeah, you don't use a sealer to paint on. A sealer protects it, but when you're time to paint, you gotta scuff that, and you gotta put a primer, because paint will not stick to a sealer.
Yeah, but you get what I'm saying. My thing is, okay, I'm going to re-gel coat it. Do I just leave it in the gel coat, or do, you know? Again, I don't know enough about boats or vets with the fiberglass to know, okay, I gel coated the crap out of it. It's all nice and got a good coat of gel coat on it. It's good to go. Or do I need to seal it or prime it or something to preserve all of that work from sanding and gel coating?
Yeah.
I think the gel coat will stand on its own. But yeah, I mean, if you were going to paint it, yeah, you'd need some sort of primer to stick it to. Scuffed and primed, and
I mean, and that, like I said, the car's going back Wimbledon white, so saying the gel coat was white too, so it's like score.
Yeah. That helps.
This is the long snorkel hood, right?
Well, it's the factory
the Cyclone hood, right?
Right, it's the factory 66, 67 with the little chrome eyebrows and the little black trim on them and all that, and like I said, I'd like to find another. I found another hood here in South Carolina, but I'm still at a spot. I hadn't moved. I'm still trying to work out of somebody else's garage. The motor's done. The transmission's done. The AJE suspension kit is sitting in the garage because it's been hotter than you know what down here. And I don't, you go down there and you have to grind everything out. And when I talked to the guy that did the suspension, he goes, the hardest part with this kit is to take the old stuff off.
Yeah.
And with this being a 66, it's got the steering shaft. The steering column goes right into the box.
Right.
It's the shaft. It's got the bearings on it. It doesn't have 67 was the first year to rag joint. Yeah. Because if it was a 67, you just pop the rag joint loose, strip the box, just, all the front end and everything, because it's the kit converts it to a front steer manual rack.
Yeah, that's what kind of upset me with the guy that I talked to on mine, because he's like, I said, I want to still use the factory steering wheel, the factory tube. And he's like, I'll save yourself the headache, just buy the A&I or whatever.
Usually everybody goes with the I did it.
Yeah, they did it one, and I was like, "Well, I don't want to do that." And he's like, "Dude, you're setting yourself up for a lot of work." And I'm like, "Dude, I do not want that steering column in my car." And,
Yeah, it just doesn't. It's not gonna look right.
Yeah, it doesn't look right. And so that, of course, like I said, mine's the full shaft going all the way through, just like yours.
Well, it's the same. Sounds like the same as mine, because it bolts right into the back. At 66, it bolts right into the back of the steering box.
Yeah,
because it's a rear. The car now is a rear steer manual, and that's why I went with the manual rack, but it's going to move it to a front steer.
Yeah,
which that's just add a Heim joint or two, and to just move the angle from where it comes in down, and he told me what he's done in the past with mine, are with the because the kit's primarily for Mustangs, because that's kind of where AJE he got his start doing Mustangs, and then they realized, okay, well, we can make a few small tweaks and it'll fit the Fairlanes, Cyclones, other different models. Just making small little tweaks, we can make it fit a bunch of different cars. So like mine, when I ordered it, is a plus. It's the K member's like a +2. And when I even told the guy, he goes, "You're building like a Fairlane or something?" I was a Cyclone. So he goes, "Yeah, the mid-size 60s Ford." But
how many years did they make the Cyclone, Vince? What was the run?
64, I think, to 73 or 4.
Oh wow, that's longer than I thought.
Yeah, that was a and what made it even funnier was they had in the 68 to like 72 or 7, the Aero, when they were doing the Aero bodies, the big body Aero cars, they had, it was either a Cale Yarborough Special Cyclone or the Dan Gurney Ford,
right,
or Torino or Fairlane. I think it was
right.
But it was a Dan Gurney or a Cale Yarborough Special.
Yeah.
But
I saw Tony DeFeo did a video with a guy in Tennessee who owned one of each. That was pretty cool. Yeah.
I've had a chance to buy a couple of the 69, 70 Cyclones and stuff like that. The problem is those things are rarer than the 66s that I've got.
Really?
And just the production number, I mean, the production, like the 66, I've got 3. I've got two-door hard tops and a convertible. And they're all 66. They're all 394 speed cars. How I ended up with the triple, or is it what is it they call it, the hat trick? I don't know, but that's what they all are. And
see, that's good, because if he says that to us, he's already pre-programmed to say it to his wife.
Well, the wife is not happy because I'm talking about putting a 5-speed in the car.
Yeah,
she wants me to put an automatic in it because she's not that good with a stick. And I was
the second one, honey, the second one.
You can learn. Well,
I always can learn.
I've got the C6 already built for my car. That's why, once I do the swap and put that K member and everything in the 2-door hardtop I'm doing now, then I'll go get the motor and put the transmission and everything in it and, start really making some progress. But, I looked at the temperature last night when I went to bed, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. It was like 85 degrees and it still feel like temperature was 92.
Yeah.
And it's like, 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And it still felt like it was 92 degrees outside.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. The weather's been crazy.
Well,
I kicked myself because I passed up that 66 Cyclone, and it was a convertible. It was candy apple red with white interior. It was a 289 hypo with a 4-speed, and I kick myself every time I go by. Every time I go by that shop that had that car sitting in the back, it's gone, but I kick myself knowing that I left that there.
Yeah, like I said, I got that, that burgundy white top, white interior one that Tori held on for me, when he went and got it for me. And then, like I said, this car the one I'm doing now was the yellow with a black top, the sunburst yellow or sun whatever yellow. And I don't know. That's not a bad color, but I've always liked the Wimbledon white.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do this one in Wimbledon white with a black top and a black. It's still got the factory interior black. So I got a buddy of mine that says I should just leave it like it sits now with the mid 80s faded paint job on it and all that. You know, it's red. And I'm like, dude, I hate red cars.
Yeah.
I not like red cars. And I drove a 69 Chevelle Garnet red in high school. And I'm just like, I don't like red cars.
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned Tory and delivering a car. I just spoke to him the other day, and he was on his way back from picking up and dropping off. He did like a 4-round thing. He says, "Oh, you picked the perfect time." He goes, I'm on the last leg of the trip home. He goes, "I'm getting tired." He goes, "So now you can keep me up." I'm like, "All right, good.
Talk him into the base.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we're gonna get together for lunch one of these days soon. We're gonna meet him for lunch.
Yep. Has Ray? You would probably know more. Have they already done Hershey, or is that later in the year?
I don't know. I know, every time I think there's nothing going on, people tell me, "I'm going to Carlisle, we're going to Hershey." There's shows all the time. And the Mopar guys just went to
Carlisle
again, right?
Right.
I was going to say, because that's where, if you wanted to find the OEM stuff, Lewis, that's Hershey or Carlisle or someplace like that, you might be able to find it. Because, I mean, those guys, they show up with stuff that's like, "Oh my God, where did you find this?" And it's like, "Oh, we've had this stuff for years. It's just been sitting in the garage somewhere."
Yeah.
It's about a 5-hour drive for me. It ain't bad.
My daughter went to UNOH, Lewis.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So we know that route. We know that route up to Lima, which still got a Ford engine plant to this day. And Yep, it's funny when you were talking about that MEL motor a couple years back. John Causey just blew everybody away when he showed up with like a 410-inch MEL motor and made jaw-dropping power with this thing.
Yeah,
and they're like, "What the hell is that?" And he goes, "It's a Murphy Etzel Lincoln."
Lincoln, right?
That guy's a genius.
John, it's funny. We do it's kind of it started off as a big block Ford kind of race, and then it just got to be like a memorial to again, unfortunately, to all the guys that we've lost and through the years and just whatever. And one of the years, John showed up because his cylinder heads are very prevalent. The SR71s, the P51s, the Melling, or not the Melling, but the Kazi oil pumps and stuff. So he does a lot to support the. Sorry about that. He does a lot to support the big block Ford stuff and different Ford stuff. Well, the guy that I go with, my best friend, who is from up there where we're raised at, and a couple of the other guys all worked at Gulfstream or Learjet or had aviation backgrounds. They wanted to talk to John about hot rod stuff. John wanted to talk to them about the airplane stuff because so that was funny because they're like, "Yeah, he wanted to talk about airplanes. We want to talk about cars." But really nice guy, really smart. I remember John was one of the first ones back in the 80s. He built a 710 or 712 inch, what he called a shotgun Hemi, just to see if he could do it. Because that's when IHRA was doing their mountain motor series.
Yeah.
He's like, "How big of a motor can I actually build?" And he built like a 711 inch or 712 inch motor back in the 80s.
Wow.
Again, doing things that, just smart guy, just really, really, really good engineer. And, when they went, "Jesus, how did you do that?" And he's like, "Well, the block is, we sonic checked the block and bored it like a, 150 thousandths and, 4.5 inch or 4.6, 4.7 inch bore. And, now we were laughing the other day with GM, GM came out with that Ramjet 502. Now you can go buy a damn 700 inch brake motor just about from 5 different manufacturers. It's like,
Yeah, it's crazy.
you know, and again, that goes back to the technology and how much stuff is improved. And
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I mean, back in the day, my boy had one at, you know, it was 507 inch, and it was, you know, a 460 board, 4.5 inch, and it 1/8 of an inch stroke on a crank, and a set of 440 Chrysler rods with a custom piston, and you know, and that was hot. That was hot stuff back then in the late 80s, early 90s. You know, 507 cubic inches. Now it's, you know, now 600-inch motors are the norm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, not everybody's garage. We don't all have that kind of scratch.
hey, I still run a Dominator on my car. I don't run fancy fuel injection and all that stuff. That's what I got.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
And
Like-
that's the way it should be.
we ran the numbers on that thing. It's a 466. It should make 500, 520 at the flywheel. It's just you know, it's just an ice cream car, ice cream cruisers, we like to call them. Just something to scooter poot around on the weekend. So I'm gonna get with Tori and rebuild the 9-inch that's in there. And I've talked with Lou. He's got this. Gave me the ticket for doing the 9-inch conversion for the disc brakes in the back, and I got the stuff to do the fronts. So, you know, I really wanted to get that car. I wanted that car to make smoke by the end of this year, but I don't know at the rate we're going with Brandon and all of his nonsense. And
Right.
you know, the 14 years I've pulled containers, this is the slowest we've ever been.
Yeah.
I mean, just that, you know, they're rolling vessels. They're not, you know, freight's not hardly coming in. It's a mess. It is an absolute mess. And, you know, still paying almost $5 a gallon for diesel.
Mm-hmm.
I
So
saw
you pull out of Boston?
Was that?
You do a lot out of Boston
No, I try to
or
avoid.
Baltimore?
I used to pull out of Dundalk. I used to load Chryslers, or actually, they were the Mercedes. What was it? That Mercedes Chrysler, the Crossfires.
Crossfires.
I used to load a lot of Crossfires when I was running an auto hauler out of Dundalk in Maryland.
Okay.
But you know, now it's just I try to stay as local as I can, just because of fuel being so crazy and expensive. And I went to the tire shop Tuesday, put 2 tires on the truck, and left with 5. Got a steer tire that wouldn't balance out, and it was all messed up. And the guys are wanting to argue with me, so I walked over there and took a knife and stuck it in the sidewall. I said, "There, throw it in the trash pile and put a new one on it and be done with it." And he's looking at me. I went, "What?" And I said, "It's junk. I'm not going to leave it here so you can sell it to somebody as a spare.
Yep.
It's not going to do me any good. Now with the knife in the sidewall, it's junk. Throw it in the trash pile." He's like, "Dude, that was a Bridgestone." No, it was a turd. I couldn't use it. Bye-bye. So I had
what did you pay for each?
the steer. I put a Falcon made. It was American made Falcon steer. Lebmar 22.5 was $451, and then I put 4 Lebmar 22 closed shoulder drives on the other on the back that needed them, and they were $431 a piece.
Wow.
That ain't bad. That ain't
Well,
bad.
$2,800 later.
Yeah.
By the time you add the $32 FET and the balancing and all the other crap, and it was $2,800. Thank you very much.
Well, it's better than getting caught out on the road.
Well, are you those 22.5s?
Yeah, Lebmar 22.5s. Both of my tractors finally run the same Lebmar 22.5s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the bad part is that's not even the truck I drive. That's the one for my driver.
Yeah.
So
I got
Brian, tell that to the guy next time he's having trouble coming up with a little scratch for the tool bill.
yeah. I got 11 22s on my bus.
got the Lebmar 22.5s.
Yeah.
22.5s, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I'm 19.5s on the Zuzu.
yeah,
I want to stay with that size. I was going to go down, but then that's going to throw my RPMs up. So I'm going to stay at the big one.
The common ones are there's an inch step between them. If you go with what they call the low pro 22.5s, which is like a 295/75 or a 275/80 Michelin, but again, that's Michelin's the only one who makes that. It is an inch shorter than the 11R 22.5s that are on it now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like an inch shorter, and it's supposed to be like a +0. It's supposed to be just an inch shorter, but the same width, the same, you can use the same 8 1/4 rim, just 1 inch difference in height. Mm-hmm. And then if you go and that 11R 22.5 is the same as a low pro 24.5. Because a lot of guys like the bigger rim.
Yeah.
Because I know a couple guys that have had some flat top Freightliners and stuff, and they put the 24.5s because they want that bigger rim.
Yeah.
And if you put the tall rubber on there, the 11R 24.5s, that's an inch taller than the standard 22 and the low pro 24.5. So it's like inch. And I don't know, the 24.5s have been really hard to get lately. Because I was talking to the guy at the tire shop, and he goes, dude, I can't hardly get 24.5 stuff right now. He goes, 22.5 we can get, but the 24.5, because those were always big in Canada. You'd see those guys running out of Canada with the tall rubber on them, the 24.5, Lemars, and Jesus, big tires.
You know what else is hard to find is the aluminum rims.
I'll send you the guy's link in Atlanta, or he's just outside of Atlanta. He's got a yard full of rims.
Really?
Because my Freightliner has got a Kenworth rim on one side, and then like a regular just straight Alcoa on the other. And I like that kind of cutout of that Kenworth. So I was going to order, and I was going to get another rim from him. Mm-hmm. Like I said, okay, his name just popped in there. I'll send you a link to his place, but because I know they ship as well. But it's Richard Carnes Truck Parts. I've got the link, or he's on the internet. But
I got the big steel 2-hole rims on there. It's the ugliest butt.
Well, like I said, I'll pull up, because I check his when I need certain parts and pieces, because I know they handle. Not only do they sell trucks, they rebuild engines, they rebuild transmissions, rear ends, hog heads, whatever. They can rebuild them, or if they've got takeouts, so they do all kinds of heavy truck stuff. Your truck, you said that bus has got that DT 466 in it, right?
Yeah.
That's a great motor.
Yeah,
Those
that's what I'm
great
hearing.
Motors.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. I got the MT 643 Allison. I think it's 640. 643.
Was it 6-speed?
No.
5-speed? 5?
Yeah.
Is what, like you said it was a 1,000 series?
Yes, the 4,000 series.
Oh, the 4,000 series Allison? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait till you go to do the maintenance on that thing.
Uh-oh.
The Allison, my motorhome has got a 2000 series Allison 6-speed in it, and the Allison fluid, they make their it's Castrol Allison shift, it's
fluid enhancer.
It's Castrol with Allison makes their approved transmission fluid. Mm-hmm. And I priced a gallon of it the other day at the shop, and it was $64 a gallon.
Ooh.
Yeah,
a gallon, or no? It's probably a quart.
No, that was a gallon.
No, because that, like the enhancer stuff for the Some of the Japanese stuff is over $117 for a quart.
This
Now.
this was the Castrol, or the I forget what they call it. It comes in a blue bottle and it says Allison Shift. They've got a trademark name, of course, with the, because it's the Allison fluid and all that. And it was about $64 a gallon.
How many gallons?
A quart.
I thought it was expensive when I serviced mine, and it was $40 a gallon. I was like, dude, what? And he goes, it is what it is. It's their Allison fluid. So I went and changed the filters, and the guy who had my RV didn't read the service manual very well.
Yeah, most people don't.
It only had like 60-something thousand miles on it, and they had never serviced the transmission. Now it shifted and ran fine, but when I started reading the manual, it says, X number of thousands of miles or 48 months, whichever comes first. They never serviced it, so the transmission fluid that's supposed to be cherry red was not cherry red. But it shifted, and it shifts and it goes through all the gears and does everything just like it's supposed to. So and that's when I found out that the 2000 or whatever series I have has 3 different filter sizes, whether you've got the short pan, the standard pan, or the extra deep pan. So I dropped the pan, changed the filters, filled it back up, and knock on wood, I hadn't had any issues with it. So,
good.
But no, the Allisons are good transmissions. That DT 466 is a great little motor. What else?
That's all I've been hearing about it.
Oh, that's why they put those in those buses and stuff like that. It's because you do the maintenance on them and just change the filters on a regular basis, and they've got good power. They're not extremely noisy. They do their job. They show up and they do work, and and they run.
Yeah. Well, I got 190,000 on it, but they did an in frame like 5 years ago.
Yeah, that was the whole reason I bought the International that I've got. I bought it at 623, and at 619 they had done a in-frame new head, rods, mains, pistons, jugs, the whole 9 yards. And that was hell, even back then that I took delivery of that truck in July of 12, and I saw the paperwork on the rebuild, and it was $22,000 on the rebuild back then.
Yeah. This was 12,000. I got the work order right. They gave me all the service records and everything for it.
Yeah, all that's golden. That's good stuff to keep. That's mine's the ISX 15 Cummins, the 870 series.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ray, you need some coffee?
Oh, it's getting here. It's going to be that time.
Yeah, I'm going to jump off too in a minute. Soon, let's see, where is it at?
But yeah, I'll shoot you that link to Richard Carnes there. Like I said, I know they ship and they're pretty reasonable pricing and stuff. So they probably, can probably hook you up, or, I think they're on the locator. They might be able to find, or trying to think, because you're in Ohio, Youngstown.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Cincinnati or Dayton or somebody might have, or Indy, if there's any other big lots or big places I know of in Indy, or somewhere that's a little closer, that's, rather than coming up that far, it can just shoot it over.
Right.
So, Vince, let me ask you this. With these Mel motors, my buddy, like I said, he's been talking to a guy in PA that's got parts, but do you have any sources for guys that have stuff for those engines?
I would call Kazi Enterprises.
Send me his link too, please.
I'll get you the link to John's, because believe it or not, if you were to drive by John Kazi's shop, you would go, you're kidding me. And it's like, no, it's just this kind of nondescript little building in Georgia, just up north of Atlanta, and it's an industrial kind of plaza, and it's just like a kind of a plain Jane looking, industrial plaza, industrial buildings. And they I'll I know, like I said, I know he did Engine Masters a couple years ago with that Mel motor, so he knows those motors.
How do you spell his last name?
Kassie, I think. Kazi.
Okay. He's
John
in Georgia.
Kazi. John Kazi Enterprises. I mean, and the thing is, about as well known as he is in the drag racing and engine field, he'll still talk to you. He's a nice, just level-headed guy. He's busy as all get out, but if he's got a minute, he'll talk to you, and
Nice.
just tell him hey, this is what I'm doing. What any advice or and because like I said, that's a lot of the big block Ford guys, same thing. They're building these engines and stuff, and it's like, hey, I talked to John. He recommended the Cam, trying to get a set of heads, and like I said, he's a nice guy, and if he can help you, he'll point you in the right direction. He's not stuck up at all.
Well, I'll tell you, my buddy was ready to pull the motor and do a coyote transplant. And I said, well, the engine bay certainly is big enough. I said, you're going to have to fabricate everything, but at least you have the room.
Good old coyote swap.
Yeah.
Those things are, people talk about how wide a 460 is. Those coyote motors are damn near as big as a 460, if not bigger.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We my boss is 66 Fairlane. We actually pulled the coyote out of that, and yeah, luckily somebody had deleted the shock towers because there was no way that thing was going to fit.
Right.
Well, that's with the I've got a 66 Mercury Cyclone, and the underpinnings and all of that are pretty much the same as that Fairlane. And this kit that I'm using, the AJE kit, we use you use the shock tower to locate the top of the coilover, and then you can go down. He's got some specs in there about how far down they recommend going off the top, and then you can pretty much whack it back to the inner panels, and so that way you can gain all that room and still use reasonable bolt-on suspension. I mean, the front end kit for my car was, with all the extras and stuff I added, was just under $3,000. And that's a core, front steer manual, brand new manual, Flaming River manual rack, 250-pound coilovers. All I had to do was get the spindles and the brake stuff, and of course, if you want to run the SN95 stuff, do you want to run the Fox body stuff? It's very, very flexible.
What are you running?
Right. I'm a sucker for the old school look, Brian. So that's why I went with the Fox body, basically like the SVO 5-lug conversion.
Uh-huh.
So if I want to put the 14-inch Steelies back on this car, I'm the one that's going to know it's got full-wheel disc brakes and everything else on it, but it'll have the stock 14-inch wheel with a 500 horse 466 in it.
Those discs will fit behind a 14.
There you go.
The Ford, the Ford 5-lug. It's
from the Fox body. Yeah.
Yep. But if you go to the SN95, which is considered an update or an upgrade for the brakes, then you've got to run like a minimum of a 15 to 16-inch wheel. Then.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I think
you already got spindles?
Yeah, I picked up a set of Fox body spindles. They were supposed to be off of 93. So, and then new bearings.
I've got a set. I just cleaning out my stuff. I got a set of Fox bodies, and I'll never use them. So
I wished I'd have known. I'd have bought them. I'd have got them from you. Then like I said, I just picked up set up from somebody I kind of knew, but I'd have bought it. Definitely got them from you just to help you out.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I can't remember what year Fox is, a later Fox body. Of course, they're all the same. I mean,
well, they say that the 87 to 93 they increased the size slightly.
Yeah,
from
87 to up. The early ones were a little different.
Yeah, 79 to 83, I think, and then
87. 87 was a big change year. That's when they started sneaking into the SN95 stuff.
Because it's even like if you've got like an early model 79 or 80 or 81, and you put like the 93 stuff on it, it'll fit, but it's actually bigger. You use a little bigger bearing, a little bigger brake. It's a better brake. It's a better caliper.
Yeah.
And it's still factory parts, but it's just a little better. In fact, you know what? Because I've got that other because I've got that convertible, and if you, like I said, just shoot me a price on what you want for those spindles, and I've got another car I can, if I do another AJE front end auto,
You can have them, Vince. I'll send them to you.
That's fine. I mean, just I'll cover your shipping or whatever. Just shoot me a note or whatever. And like I said, I'll cover the shipping.
Yeah, they're sitting here, and I'm tripping over them. And like I said, I know I'll never use them. I took them because I thought I was going to use them, and I know I never will.
And plus, I've got my buddy's got that Ranchero that same thing's got an AJE kit on him, and he's got the SN95 set up. So if I don't use them, he could use them. There's enough pieces and parts around here. I think we can horse trade.
Yeah, no problem.
So, yeah, just let me know on the shipping, and like I said, I'll cover the ride. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
Got any pastrami?
Not big.
Brian Jones for pastrami with sauerkraut on rye.
I'm not
Some of that.
Ray, as much as I love bread, I am not a rye guy. My mom loves rye.
I got an education, man. Back in the 90s, my niece and her husband moved down to Charleston. And,
why?
And then they had to move back because my sister got sick and she had to come back up. And I flew down there. It was another one of my one-way excursions.
Well, we're almost done with the show.
Flew down one way, and I drove the U-Haul with the car in the back up while my nephew drove the truck. But so on our way up, we stopped at a little breakfast place, kind of like a Waffle House. And I remember, first time I was down there, and I ordered, he orders an omelet, coffee, whatever. I got coffee. I said, let me have eggs, O'Reilly, hash browns, and she goes, you want toast? Yeah, let me have rye. And she's like, what? I'm like, rye toast. And now I see Rick starting to laugh on the other side of the table. He's like giggling a little. I'm like, rye. I'm like, rye, R-Y-E, rye toast.
Rye bread.
She's like, what? I said, well, what do you got? She goes, we got wheat or white. Like, wheat or white? I'm like, what?
Wheat bread or white bread?
I was like, all right, white bread, God damn it. So she walks away, and he breaks up laughing. I'm like, all right, what's the joke? He goes, Ray, we don't have rye bread down. What do you think? You're at a Jewish deli in New York? He goes, there's no rye bread in South Carolina. I'm like, it's freaking bread. For God's sakes. What's the big deal? You throw it in a truck, you put it on a shelf, it's bread. He goes, no, man, we don't have rye bread down here.
That stuff would set until it turned into a brick. Nobody would order it.
Oh, man, I learned a lesson that day, and it was no rye bread. So what kind of backwoods place is this?
Hey, guys, I'm going to jump ship.
All right, Lewis.
All right, Lewis.
Duck the lightning.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. And if you need anything, hit me up.
You got it.
I'll shoot that link to you, Ray. Lewis.
Okay, sounds good. I appreciate it.
Yeah, like I said, it's worth a look.
Yeah, for sure. And Brian, I'll let you know. I think I can fit those though. Let me. I'll measure them up tomorrow to see.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
All right, Lewis.
See you, man.
All right. So Justin, man, I got your. I guess it was the day after I fired up my phone. I got those pictures you sent from your youth.
Oh,
from your youth.
Back in the day.
Nice.
Oh yeah, the Derby days.
Yeah, very cool. Cool stuff.
I'm trying to remember what all I sent you.
It was a picture out in the field. You were working. One picture, you were working on a caddy. It looked like a pinkish colored Cadillac.
Oh, that's my buddy's '58 Buick.
Oh, it's a Buick?
Yes.
Wow. It was a caddy.
That's the shoulda car, because everything we bought should have worked.
Right.
But it didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a LS swap on that one.
Oh, wow. Okay. And yeah, it was a Derby car. And you bought a pickup truck by a big old Ford pickup. You look like you were in high school.
Yeah, that was my first truck, actually.
Wow.
Yep. Cool. I put a total of 2 miles on that one and wrecked it.
Right.
Good start.
Yeah.
15. Yeah. Excuse me for not making it to shore, but Vince, Justin, Justin became one of our crew a while ago. He's hanging with the crotchety crew now. So with schooling him
Hanging
in
with
the
the cool
ways of
guys.
the oldster.
Yeah. What is it, about a year or so ago, or a year and a half, almost maybe 2? This used to be the Tower of Power Music Hour.
Right.
And it would basically be Ray, myself, John, and Brian would come in and out too if he had time or whatever. And we would talk about food and music and it was, we used to joke and laugh with the family, the new family members. It's like, hey, after the first hour or so, okay, well, that's the show Playing in Traffic, and Lewis would dip or whatever, and Lou would dip, or Ray or Lewis Lee would take off or whatever, and then it would just be us, and we would go till midnight, just talking music and all of our love of different, and it was so strange because it would be, one night we'd be talking about guns and rifles and pistols and foods, and Tori would be, it was just the after hour show was always, I always thought
free for all.
The food and the music.
I think back in those days we would stay until 11, because then we kicked it up for another hour to 12.
We used to get cut off.
Yeah, because on the other platform it
would be like 11 o'clock, and we would we'll all be talking, and all of a sudden it would just boop, that was it. You're over and done with, and it was like, well, see you guys.
Yep.
Right.
And then one time we went, and we just kept going, and we went up like midnight or whatever. And then, of course, on this one, I don't know how long we would actually go, or I think eventually it'll stop recording live.
I don't know. I mean, we found out that on this platform we just get cut off. But I found out when Lewis made me a co-host, I log in. Actually, I'm logged in under his account now. Now we can stay on pretty much as long as we want, well, within reason. Otherwise, we get cut off. Yeah, there was there's definitely been some lineage and some changes through the years.
Because it was always funny because Ray was the official timekeeper. It's like, okay, we got like 20 minutes left. you get the little notice. It's like, okay, we got like 10 minutes left, and then
right.
That clock moves fast.
Yeah,
that's it.
And it's like you said, Ray. I've got kind of that same feeling. It's just like, I can't believe that he's gone.
I know,
and just it's crazy.
Even for the short time that I've known him, it's just it's weird.
Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of why I had reached out to you like I did the other day, because I'm like, because John and I used to text back and forth all the time because my folks are down there not too far from where he was at. And, I would go down there. I'd always shoot him a message or so, hey, I'm in town or whatever. And, you want to, grab something or get a beer or whatever. And he was busy with the business, and he's like, dude, since I bought that thing in Orlando, he goes, man, I don't have time to pee or jump off a bridge.
Yeah.
Because he bought that other company.
Right.
And he goes, dude, when I bought that, he goes, that pushed my business up like 80% from what I was doing. Because he basically bought all of the accounts from the other aquarium company. So he goes, I got guys now running all over half of Florida servicing accounts.
Right. I don't know what's going to happen with that now. That's probably going to all.
I don't know what's
going to
come to an end. But yeah.
It's a big shame.
It was fun. I guess I spoke to him last Saturday. Actually, I sent him a text because Dina Parisi, people starting to see stuff on the internet, and I didn't. So Dina texted me, hey, what's up with John? Is it true? Oh, my God. And I'm like, yeah. So I texted her, and then I shot John a text and said, listen, Dina and Andrew were asking for you, just to pass on the message. And then he called me, and we talked. And I kind of had a feeling right from the beginning, something was different. I just had a spidey sense about it. And as we're talking for a short amount of time, I realized he's saying goodbye. He actually called to say goodbye without saying goodbye. And we were covering a lot of bases on things. And I'm like, oh man, I don't want to have this conversation. I really don't want to do this, but
Yeah, it's because like when I saw that and they were talking about going to hospice care, and I was like, just it was kind of like, again, like that spidey sense. I'm like, because I would pop on, and like I said, I catch the radio show, on the weekends if I'm not just eyeballs deep into something. I was like, oh, wait a minute, the show's coming on, so I'll grab I'll grab the phone and I'll do the motor mouth radio on the iHeart or whatever, because it's that other link. I don't know what happened to that other link I had where I was using it, because it was just like, I don't know. So I just
there was a link to change, but if you just go to our website, there's a listen live button right on the website.
I'll have to do that, because like I said, I've got I was and then I would pop on here. I might not come in, but I would pop on and see who's on the board or whatever, and who the guests were, and this, that, and the other. And for a while there, or actually for probably about the last year and a half, I was running over the road stuff. So, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, 6 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm in bed because I got to get up at 1, 12:30, 1 o'clock, and I got to drive for 4 or 5 hours or 6 hours. And, so I'm just like, dude, I can't, I've got to try to get sleep.
Yeah.
So I just, and there was a couple of times when I was on the road, I popped in and managed to get, to get a hold of you guys, and, where I was in the one truck, and still I always had a good time with you and John and hey, Matt Coman, and I used that Power Probe today, Brian. So
yeah,
nice.
But I just kept noticing. I was like, "Where's John?" And even the emails and texts and different stuff, and I was just like, "Oh, I don't see John as prevalent as I did." And then and that's kind of when I had reached out to you, and I even reached out to Lou, is like, have you heard anything about John? Because it just kind of like dropped off a little bit. And then I went back and started looking at his Facebook stuff, and they're like, oh crap, now do I feel like an idiot? Because all of a sudden, here it is, I find out he's not doing good at all. And then, every day I've just been looking and just any kind of any update or whatever, and it's just like, hey bud, we're just we're all throwing the prayers out there for you, just and it just it saw the link today, and I saw all the stuff, and it's like he passed, and it's just like almost that numb feeling of like
I said, he was going through the back stuff, and then he started dropping different terms and things through the conversations, and I kind of picked up what was going on. And I told him, I said, John, do you want me to, who do you want me to tell? What do you want me to do and not do and not say? And I said, because, I don't want to get specific with things with your life. You may not want people knowing the stuff. I said, I'll just, I'll just say that you're still laid up and you're having back issues. And all. He goes, yeah, leave it like that for now. And then he told me when I talked to him last, he said, actually, when I told him about, Dina, he goes, yeah, actually, because I actually did give a lot of people my phone number over the years. Now, I don't know to him what a lot of people means, because he knows a lot of people. But he goes, and I'm actually kind of happy now because I know I'd be getting deluged with phone calls. And he goes, and I wouldn't be able to take them and I'd feel bad. He said, so I know a lot of people are going to be asking questions. And, once the internet grabs it, it's going to be, out there.
And that's kind of why I, last time I was in Florida, I shot him a note. I texted him. I said, "Hey, dude, I'm down here," and he's like, "Yeah, we'll do lunch tomorrow or something or whatever." And I said, he goes, "I got one customer I got to service," and I said, "John, text me or call me when you're done. I'll grab a Chevelle. Me and my dad will run down there and we'll have lunch or beer, whatever. Just because it's not that far from where my dad and them are to where he was at." I said, just let me know. And he got busy with something and tied up, and we never did get a chance to go over there and meet up. But it's just like, I know he's busy, just because that's every time I talk to him, he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" He's like, "Man, I'm buying another truck," or "I got this," and I got, he's just all just work.
You'll appreciate this, Vince. I always like to quote the John Lennon line that says, "Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans." And boy, it's so true. We all have plans. We want to do this, we want to do that, but something else comes up, or something else breaks, or You got to go over here. You got to go over there. It's like your plans just went poof. Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah. Well, and it's, I had I won't say an epiphany, but I was feeling a while back, probably 6-8 months ago. This fog came over me, and the wife and everybody's like, she's like, what's wrong? I can see that something is bothering you. And I said, well, I turned 52 this year. And I said, well, and it's like, not that I'm an old man or consider myself an old man. I said, but there's a point when you realize that you've got more sunset or sunrises and sunsets behind you than you do in front of you.
Yeah.
And that was the very sobering moment.
Yeah.
Because in my brain, I'm still 25 years old, 10
Aren't
foot
we
tall,
all?
tequila swilling, bulletproof.
Aren't we all?
But it's, reality's a bitch. And when it slaps the taste out of your mouth a few times and you're like, okay, like you're saying, Brian, I got these and I'm not going to use them. We make plans and we start doing stuff and we're going to do this and life gets in the way. And I've had that Cyclone for 9 years. I'm like, holy cow. I didn't realize I had a car that long.
Vince, my chiropractor, he's a few years older than me, and he put it a little more graphically to me, and I hate him for it, but he's right. He said to me, hey, Ray, on the football field of life, he goes, you got more yards behind you than you have in front of you. I'm like, oh, screw you. It's just so graphic. I'm like, no. He goes, yeah, dude, you're in the fourth quarter like the rest of us. Like, no. And that's what pisses me off at life and gets me so pissed when I think about John and saying, John is literally a month older than me. That's it. And I know that he had plans for what he wanted to do. We all know what he was working on, his cars and stuff. And, and I have plans, and it's like, okay, we're not working, we're not doing stuff balls to the wall like we were 20 anymore, but we're still doing stuff. And to just have that stop, it's not fair. It's not fair. The guy didn't have a chance to finish what he wanted to do. And that's sad. So I know he told me the white car, he said some guy's name. I couldn't even concentrate on what he was saying at this point in the conversation, but somebody he knows is taking the white Firebird and going to build that. And he says, the black one, he says, I don't know. He goes, I don't know. He goes, that thing will probably it'll turn into dust in the garage. He goes, I don't know what's happening to that. That's good. There's no plans with that. So unless his wife finds somebody to take it and finish it, I don't know.
Yeah.
The black car is the original car, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's half breed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And didn't they pretty much rebody that one? Is like what, an 81 or something like that?
82 body or something.
He changed the body panels. Yeah. The roof and center section is the same, and he hung the later nose and tail on it. Neither one of the cars has a title. So,
but the race car basically is a race car. But
he said in Florida he could actually register them. So
it's the same thing with like Georgia. It's you buy a car over a certain age in Georgia, and they're like, they don't really do a title. You do it with a bill of sale.
Bill of sale, yeah.
Yeah, like that black car will come back as a 70 if you look at the VIN.
And that's like like we had discussed before, and you got a chuckle out of it when I took the car from Ron Konkama, and I took the paperwork to the DMV, and the lady's going, I need the title, and I'm like, it's in your hand. No, this is that, and I'm like, lady, read it. That was it, before 1972 or 4, state of New York. That's what you got, babe. That's what you got.
Yeah, I tell people it's usually, I remember it was like around 73. We started with the top. Before that, registration only. Yeah, transferable registration.
Almost like a 3x5 business card. Just that's like there it is. That's your paperwork.
Yeah, I got my dad's. I think it's on the 65 Pontiac Le Mans it was the same thing. The card, it's just a card for registration or a title or whatever.
It's just a registration. And if I go into this box,
You're gonna pull out all
He's
kinds
gonna
of
pull-
these.
Yep.
I have like every registration since I've been driving. And
Oh, I thought you were going to pull out Jimmy Hoffa.
no,
Founder.
that's a registration.
There you go. That's what I handed him at the DMV.
I don't even know what that's for. What's this for? 4-door sedan. Oh, my '96 Chevy. So that's even late model. That's for the Impala.
The Impala.
Yeah.
Hey, did you ever get those wheels from Lou?
No.
Because I took him a set of Impala SS wheels,
Uh-huh.
and he was going to get them to you somehow, or if he still got them, I don't know.
I just talked to Lou last week. He just came up this way. He was up, well, not this way, but he was up in Buffalo for that show. I forget. It's right near Buffalo, but he was just up there this past weekend, and then he was going to stop on Rhode Island on his way back home.
Yeah, I talked to him today, probably about 20 minutes after Brian sent him a note.
Oh, here we go. These are the old ones. This is the registration I got with my Pontiac. This is dated 1975. The only thing you see is a New York seal. But on the back, there was a you
Place to
can't see
sign.
it, but up in this corner, in this box is a stamp. It's a blue stamp, and that was the inspection stamp for that year. They would stamp the Reggie and date it. It's dated 5/75. This was it's my original driver's license, and these were two pieces. On the back, they would put your infractions. So we had a few of those. So yeah, everything was paper. Yeah, original.
I don't even think there's any states in the union left that a non-photo ID is not valid anymore.
This is dated 75 also.
Because there were a couple different states where you could have a driver's license without a photo, and they were legal and valid, and it was no photo attached.
Oh yeah. Yeah, now we got enhanced licenses. And
Oh, I've got the one with the little star. What is it they call it? Not the smart ID,
The security one.
the
Yeah.
real
Federal.
ID. They call
okay,
it
yeah, I have
real-
I got the enhanced one, and that was the thing. I told the story when I went. It was one. I think my daughter. I don't know. I remember getting her permit or something. We went down to DMV, and I said, "Okay, I took all my paperwork, brought it down, and I went to the counter. I said, I want to get an enhanced driver's license, which will do everything. I mean, you can travel to Canada and Mexico with it. It's not a passport, but you couldn't go out of the country, but you could travel to Canada and Mexico with it. They had all the security on it and all. So I gave them all the forms of ID. Proof of where I live, social security card, proof of employment, proof of this, proof of everything they wanted, birth certificate.
Yeah.
And the lady says, "Oh, you know what? We had a problem here. Let me call a supervisor." I'm like, "Problem? Like what?" So the supervisor comes over and she's looking through my stuff. She goes, "Yeah, we have a problem." I'm like, what's the problem? She goes, "Your birth certificate isn't. We can't take your birth certificate." I said, "What do you mean you can't take my birth certificate?" I said, "I've had this thing since I've been born. I've done everything with this, from jobs to getting married to proving everything in my life." And like, she goes, "Well, it isn't a valid New York State birth certificate." I said, "The hell it isn't." Well, she goes, "No." I said, "What makes this not a valid New York State birth certificate?" Well, the birth certificates we need are the black and white ones. Mine happens to be a United States Navy birth certificate. I was born on a Navy base, and it has the seal of the United States Navy embossed on it. I said, "Ma'am, you don't get more United States American than being born on a Navy base. I mean, come on." And it's right here in Brooklyn. It's like not like it was somewhere in Bora Bora. It's like I wasn't out of the country or anything. Well, this isn't on our list of what we could accept. I'm like, freaking. So I said, "So what am I supposed to do?" I said, "This is the birth certificate I've had my whole life. Did everything with it." Well, you got to go down to Chambers or Water Street in the city, and you got to get a the black and white one. I'm like, all right. So I put it on my list that summer. We were going to do that. And I said, every time we talked about it, I said, I don't feel like going down there just to do that. Screw that. No, I don't want to go. So I didn't do it. I guess the next year, my daughter got her license or something. We had to go back to DMV. So we go back, and I took all my stuff again. And I went up and I tried it again. And this time, just sailed right through. Whoever was doing it just sailed it right through. So, and my brother in Florida, my older brother in Florida, had the same problem in Florida. The first time they wouldn't give it to him. The second time they did. So,
yeah, down here they call it the real ID. It's got the little holographic star and all that crap on it.
Yeah, the real ID.
We have that up here too, but
Yeah, and
it was the real, and then the enhanced was the one above that.
Well, being that I was when all that crap happened, I was I was running that truck for that guy out of Texas. So they're like, when they started explaining what the real ID is, and every time I would go to a military installation, they were like, oh, well, you can, and they're like, oh, well, you can use this, you can use that. As soon as those guys knew that I had a TWIC card, which is a Transportation Workers Identification Card issued by the federal government,
right?
It was like, there you go. That's all they wanted to see.
Okay.
And I always laughed with them, when I would get to, because you have to have a TWIC card to go on a port. And again, it's all because of the quote enhanced security and this, that, and the other. And the last time I told the lady when because they're only good for like 5 or 6 years or whatever. So when my TWIC card was getting ready to expire, there's a 90-day window. You can just go ahead and get it done, because sometimes they get it done quickly. Sometimes so I was like, okay, I'm in the window. I got a day off. I'm going to go get my new TWIC card. And the lady's like, oh, this is going to take 7 to 10 days and blah, blah. And I said, ma'am, I don't mean to be disrespectful. I'll have my crap back in 3 days. No, it doesn't work. I said, ma'am, the FBI has my fingerprints on file. They know who I am. And she looked at me and I said, I worked in the airline industry when 9/11 happened. We were all fingerprinted by the FBI beforehand. After 9/11, we all flew back up to Washington, D.C. and fingerprinted and background checked again after, when they realized they had people working on the inside that happened for all of that crap. Yeah. Everybody's applications got reviewed again. You got fingerprinted again. I said, they know who I am. I said, I'm so clean I squeak. I said, so through 2 or 3 days later, hey, here's a reminder that your TWIC card has been approved and you should be getting, I'm like, lady, I'm not my first rodeo. And, same thing. You go to these Navy or these installations, these Army bases and all that. And you show them that TWIC card with your driver, and they're like, here's your license. Here's a TWIC, and they would use the TWIC card. I'm like, either one, it's a real ID, TWIC card, whatever. They're both, or I guess the ID is the driver's license is state issued, but it's a CDL, and the TWIC is a federal institution or federal issued. So state, federal, take your pick.
You got it boxed on both ends, yeah.
It was funny because I went to the one place there in it's the where they went to for the run in the Smoking the Bandit. Where
Texarkana?
Texarkana. Most people don't realize there's a Texarkana, Texas, and there's a Texarkana, Arkansas. And right outside of Texarkana, Texas, is a military installation. I think it's Red Rock Army Depot or something. And I went in there, and same thing. The guy saw my I had my stuff when I went in there, and the guy goes, he goes, give me the TWIC card, and he goes, put the rest of that stuff away. Okay, filled it all out, and he told me, he gave me the day pass, gave me the verified all the stuff I was there to pick up and all that. And he says, okay, he says, do yourself a favor. He says, hang on to this paperwork that I'm giving you, this sheet, guest pass or whatever they want to call, he goes, hang on to it. He goes, because if you ever come back to this installation again, he says, present this, and they'll basically renew it for that day. So about 8 months later, I ended up going, getting another load, going from that installation going to an exporter, a freight exporter in Houston, or not Houston, to Fort Worth. Same. I walked in there with that paperwork. I said, "Is this still valid?" He goes, "Rock on." He took it. Okay, and same thing. Go check with the other side, and that was I had 3 stops in the base that day for 3 different little loads, all going to the same military or freight exporter in Fort Worth. And they're like, "Okay, this has to be there today." And I'm like, "You guys are dicking me around. It's like 3.5, 4 hour drive, and I'm, you're waiting." They're like, so they finally got all 3 pieces loaded up and everything, and in the truck and all that. And I said, "All right, it's going to be X number of hours," because I knew how many miles it was, and I said, "I'll be at this place in like 3.5 hours." And they're like, "Okay, they're waiting on you." I'm like, "Well, if the first guy hadn't have taken 3 hours to load me, and the next guy 2 hours to load me, and then the last guy 30 minutes, I said, I'd have been out of here a hell of a lot sooner."
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's getting just about time for us to get the hell out of here.
Yep. I don't have to work tomorrow, but I think I got to put U joints in my little Chevy truck. I got a vibration at speed, and I had the tires 0 balance today, so I know they're right. So, still fighting this air conditioner in my son's GMC Envoy.
Yeah, that's been going on a long time.
Well, it works, then it doesn't work, and I'm like, the manual says if you've got voltage at the motor and it changes as you adjust the speed, and you've got no blower motor, it's probably the blower motor. So I had voltage at, and it adjusted as you ran the dial. We put a blower motor in it, AMC Delco, put it all together. Don't work. And I was like, okay. I checked all the fuses, checked all the everything else before.
Check the harness connection, because they like to melt.
I checked everything. And then so I started flipping through, and it says, okay, if you've done this, and you replace the motor and it doesn't work, there's a blower motor relay tucked up under there. He goes, if you've got power and the blower motor still not working, replace the blower motor relay that's hidden up under the dash. I'm like,
I would put a test light on that first and see if you got.
I got to find it. It's a big
voltage and switch voltage.
I got to
make sure you got ground.
Yeah, it's the ground comes back out of the dash and the HVAC harness, and then runs underneath to this console. And then because it's got the infotainment system in it and all that, there's a ground in the console, because there's a DVD player on the roof and the rear audio controllers and all that crap. So they said there's a ground in the console, but I don't know. It's frustrating as hell, because being 90 plus degrees and the feel like temperature's over 100 degrees, and the air conditioner is just not blowing, and it works. So
yeah.
So I'll try to find that relay tomorrow.
Yeah,
Brian, like I said, just figure out what the freight is on those. You got the address still. Just let me know what the freight is. I'll shoot you the Cash App or whatever. I'll shoot you the freight for those. And Ray,
I'll box. I got hopefully I can make it through. This whole week's been a hassle. I came home the other night, and they said, "Oh, the kitchen sink is clogged up," and I'm over there pumping on it, getting it done, and so I get the drain, and it's draining out, and I'm running water, and I said, "Let me just go downstairs and double check."
Ruh-roh.
Yeah.
Big old crack in the pipe, so I had to cut about 24 inches out because the pipe's super soft. And when I got up earlier, I noticed that I sprung a little leak over there, so I got to do some more plumbing. So
nice.
Yeah, no hurry. Like I said, just shoot me the message. Shoot me whatever it is. Ray, I'll get you John's number or his the link and everything to their shop and their contact information for Kazi Enterprises.
Excellent.
And like I said, I'll shoot Lewis that other stuff for the bus. But
I got you ready to run credit cards.
Yeah,
credit cards.
I'm thinking
hopefully
I'm
it goes
through
Facebook
too. So
okay, cool.
So
Yeah. It's great meeting up.
yeah, always, like I said, just I knew some new faces and stuff, and like I said, just things change and all that, but doesn't look like it's the music power hour tonight. Of course, it's kind of a somber. It's
a little different.
It's crazy. I can't believe he's gone. But like my wife even pointed out, she says, you know what? Because her dad had the same thing, and she goes, I saw my dad go from a virile working guy every day to just nothing. Couldn't even speak when he passed. And she goes, you know what? All that pain and suffering and all that crap that was going on in his life, it's over. He's not suffering. Right. He's not hurting. He's not in pain anymore.
Exactly.
And that's, we lost a good friend, but I don't want to see anybody have to go through all of that. Just,
Yeah, I'm just glad it went fast. That's all.
Yeah.
It's exactly what he wanted. So.
Yep.
Like I said, my one uncle, it was 6 months. He went through that crap almost day in, day out. Even on the morphine, it was still, he'd be fine 1 minute, and the next minute he was screaming and hollering, and they're like, and then he'd kind of snap back into it, and they're like, "Oh man, I'm sorry." And it's like, dude, you're on so many drugs, and he goes, it like a switch clicks, and he goes, it's just unbearable pain, and it's like, man, he says, dude, you don't have to apologize to us. We're the ones over here crying because we all know you're dying, and you're dying, and it just one of them things.
All right, gentlemen, which one of you fine fellows would like to take us out tonight for, let me just wrap it, for Lewis Lee, Plane in Traffic, Greg Guarino, Macroman Brian, Justin Emmets from All American Gasser, and of course, the return of Vince, or let's see.
I guess I need to get my website up and going because it's actually chicken.
Vince started coming on. We made that.
Well, see, that goes with this.
Sure does.
You didn't know about that because that goes with that.
Yes, it does.
All right,
guys. Let's do the honors tonight, boys. What do we say before we get out of here?
All right. Well, I can do it. You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram. You may even learn something. But let me tell you this. Don't follow us home.
Nice.
Always out playing in traffic.
Clip to me, and sounds like you've been practicing. That's very good. See, Brian, see how easy it is? It's really, I've been trying to get Brian to do this for years.
Yeah.
It's so
like I said, I just need to take 2 shots of Granddad's cough syrup, and next time I call you, you just got to run the tape, and then you can cut it up, man.
There we go.
All right.
See,
all right, guys.
It's time to go home because you can't stay here.
That's right.
That's it.
Right.
Exactly. Let me end this broadcast.
Good night, guys.